please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for war, man, forget about peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, not so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize, right guys, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan, if you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that, stop that, stop that.
Whoa, you stumbled onto another Wild Billy Wednesday.
Hold on to your hats, partners. It's about to get wild.
Oh, no. I forgot it was Wednesday. The hockey playoffs have ransacked me. I don't know what day it is anymore. I'm assuming you guys, after years of ESPN where we pretended to care about the hockey playoffs because our team never mattered, I'm assuming that you guys are tired and happy to have had the last few days off to be able to get your heavy tongues together. Too much partying, too much enjoying being excellent. You know how rare this thing is to be playing at the top of the sport against this titan, against this guy, Otani of hockey. It's the best team versus the best guy. It's Paul Maurice. This is the best team of my life. I've had my life perspective altered by the depth of this team. It's sort of ultimate hockey grit against giant from all times for all times.
You're describing what I was hoping in these few days people would be able to contextualize how amazing this Cup final is. There were many people in the media sphere that cover that sport specifically saying Game 7 last year, it's one of the biggest hockey games of all time, if not the biggest hockey game of all time, given that a team was up 3-0, given that you had the best player in the world looking to accomplish a 3-0 comeback in the Cup final, and here they are. After Matthew Tkachuk tells Skinner in the handshake line, we'll see you next year, they're back. They're both better than they were last year.
Well, this is the crazy part, right? Because Greg Cody is now in the middle of it again, right? Chris, how much does your father know about this controversy now where a national hockey podcast is coming after your father? Your father, we will whisper this to our audience. I don't know that he can name any other Oilers other than Draisaitl and McDavid.
And Stuart Skinner and all the others.
I just gave you that one.
You just said
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. Mike,
Regardless, it'll be our secret. He says McDavid's overrated. It's a serious thing, and it's been international controversy for 2 seasons because now we got a rematch. And think about what you just said. Last year's Panther team, obviously the best team of all time. Now, this one, considered better. And what? Who's favored in this series? Who should be favored in this series?
They're both favored.
Yeah.
the house is just completely satisfied taking the vig here.
It's just sort of like we'll run in the 10% of, you'll bet both sides of this because we know what this game means. To me, this part is the greatest part. Canada and the United States. I saw Chris and Mike go crazy in the middle of the season say it doesn't matter whether Tkachuk gets hurt for the rest of 3 seasons. He's got to win on behalf of the flag right now. So you've got the patriotism going back and forth. And again, the swamp threatens to take Canada's sport away from them. And when both countries know, that player's great and he's great for all time. He's a king for all time. And I can't believe that team survived being down 0-2 against the Kings, down last 5 minutes of Game 3, down last 5 minutes of Game 4, and then 12-2 since then. A buzzsaw that proves to you, this guy can score 2 goals every game, can dominate every game in a way no other player in the sport can.
And are blowing up blueprints the same way that the Florida Panthers are. Kings, they're trying to figure out what is their identity. The Dallas Stars probably firing Peter DeBoer. They've been, you want to talk about a team that's suffering. Dallas made it to a Cup final in the bubble, has been eliminated and bounced from the Western Conference Finals several consecutive years. They are absolutely doing in the Western Conference what Florida's been doing in the East.
I saw a scary stat for Panthers fans. Every team in NHL history that has lost their first 2 playoff games and then made it to the Stanley Cup final has won the Cup, and there's some big teams in there.
Okay, but let me reiterate what I just said from when they were down 0-2 at the start of this postseason. 12-2 since then. This is Edmonton. They've now got home ice, and they've got the acknowledged best player in the world. It's no slight on the Panthers, but The Panthers were champions last year. They're better. Edmonton came within a goal of doing something no one in the sport ever had, coming down from 3-0. They're better. 12-2 through the postseason, through that conference when we saw how high the top of the sport was. 100-point teams. But no, the Panthers were going to turn something else on in the playoffs, and they've buzzsawed through their side. What we're saying is that both teams are better, and now it's a fight at the top of the sport, and the best player in the sport and a player for all time has home ice advantage.
Roy, the entire time we've been a show, you've been passionate about hockey. Is it safe to say that in terms of talent level, team quality, anticipation, this is the most anticipated Stanley Cup final since maybe the rematch of Penguins-Detroit Red Wings?
Yeah, I believe so. Considering last season's series, yes, I think this is probably the most anticipated because this one, everybody's going for the Oilers right now. And
Pretty split. I've seen, I saw ESPN had 8 people pick. I think they're
Wait a minute.
split
I thought
4-4.
everyone picked against the Panthers in round 1. I thought everyone
They did against Toronto as well.
Okay, no favorite in this series. We're acknowledging, Greg, you're in the middle of the controversy again. Can we play this sound? Can you guys tell me the historical context of this podcast that's now attacking Grandpa Greg Cote for saying that McDavid is overrated?
Well, historical context, they're two young guys. But the What Chaos Show has been great. Pete Blackburn is a great follow on social media. If you love hockey, he views everything through a humorous prism. He's great. He's in our hockey group chat. Chris Cote just learned that as he was talking to his dad the entire day yesterday in the group chat. But
I was agreeing with him.
Yeah, to Chris's credit, he's like, he makes up a lot of good points.
In this podcast clip, this guy's Pete Blackburn is wearing a white hat, and I didn't know him by name, and they send the clip, and apparently this guy's in the chat. I just know, I see phone numbers, so I don't know.
Wait, so just give me the backstory here. So how have you now inserted yourself into a popular hockey podcast? How have you done this?
Well, because the clip was put in the group chat, and then Mike, kind of knowing I'm in the chat, is like, be careful, everyone. Chris is in here. Let's not go too hard here. And then I responded, I agree with White Hat.
Kick those people out of the group chat immediately. I want to tell you how this started. Roy texted me yesterday morning and saying, hey, these guys are friends of mine. They want to have you on the show. Guess what? I was available all day. I even said to Roy, yesterday is a good day for me if they want to get me. The cowards did not even reach out to me to be on their show.
So happy about that.
The cowards did not reach out to me. They just want, not the other guy, White Hat, just wanted to trash talk me without giving me the chance. And here I'm on the Dan Le Batard Show. Dan is continuing the myth. Now we're referring to Connor McDavid as the all-time greatest, as Ohtani. And guess what? You can't be a king if you don't have a crown. He's the uncrowned champion.
Everyone's clear on why you think Connor McDavid is Mick overrated. Let's play the clip.
Calling him the king.
Let's play the clip so he can contextualize himself why he didn't want you on the show.
It's the laziest, stupidest fucking mailed-in column that this guy probably hasn't watched a second of the Oilers this postseason.
I have indeed.
That's columnist behavior, though.
I
love
hate
that
it.
people like this exist, though.
This is way lazier. He's not making any sort of coherent or strong point that you can agree with. He's just the Stanley Cup thing is fine. You can have that argument that you can't truly be considered one of the great until you win a Stanley Cup. But saying that's part of a reason why he's overrated right now in the middle of his career is so stupid, so lazy, so dumb. It's been trotted out there 900 million times for 900 million athletes. He's not doing anything new. He's just replaying and moving the pieces back into place so that it fits the narrative against the team that the Panthers are going against.
Those young guys are good. I agreed with everything they said.
That's what I said. I was like, I agree with them.
I'm on their side on every argument. I stand against Greg Cote. Stand Greg Cote. Let's let Greg have the floor because, Mike, this is the thing, okay? For people who have been here for 2 years, and Roy, you tell me whether I have this right or not. We're sitting here doing this show through 2 playoff runs unlike anything we've sort of felt in the history of South Florida.
3, Papa.
3.
Don't short us.
Okay, so forgive me, 3. And in that time, as Mike was saying about how teams get sliced up, in that time, please respect this part, Florida took out Tampa, the previous champion. nuked the blueprint of Boston and the Rangers, who seem like a long time ago, because now the king is in Edmonton. And the eyes have been here for a while because these two teams have ascended to the very top of the sport where everyone's watching this. No one knows who's going to win, and it is very much star against team. We know both of these teams are better. And I don't want you to dumb it down to McDavid is overrated either. But people who've been listening for 2 years know that this show got scared last year of billboards and everything else. Mike Ryan, a crazy person, just insane, refused to allow me to put up billboards in defense of you in Edmonton because he thought we were going to jinx whatever happened, and our show would be forever cursed.
Which we almost did.
Blew a 3-0 lead.
Just an asinine.
Fueled the greatest player. And I don't know if you've looked into his eyes this offseason, but it is a scary thing.
I'm not looking.
Scary quotes.
This is the thing. This is what I can't keep happening around here because I want the stakes maximum escalated. Mike Ryan is deathly afraid that on this platform, you're going to say something on our behalf, on South Florida's behalf, on the Panthers' behalf, that enrages an all-time great. And we're with the young guys. They're smarter about hockey than you are. You just came over lazily and gave the newspaper take of that guy hasn't won anything. Overrated.
Yeah, it's funny that you're jumping on board him calling it a lazy opinion when nobody else in North America has that opinion. If I'm alone...
Yeah, because it's asinine.
No, it is an asinine.
I want to defend my dad a little bit here. In that clip, he throws a throwaway line of agreeing with him.
Yeah.
Okay, good point on the Stanley Cup stuff. That's really all my dad is saying.
Right, because it goes without saying, if a guy is considered one of the greatest of all time, he's going to need a cup. And I understand your point in saying, middle of his career, he's been in the league for 10 years. You know what that makes him? 28 years old.
I understand.
That makes him
I get that.
That makes him 28 years old.
I understand.
He's got about 5 to 6 more years of being this kind of elite talent.
Right.
Let's judge him then. At the end of it, I mean, it goes without saying he's going to need to win at least a cup to be considered in the same conversation with Wayne Gretzky. But in terms of individual talents, this is a guy that won the Conn Smythe, as you were calling him, overrated.
Okay.
So he's the best player in this series by quite a bit.
Which is, in and of itself, is ridiculous to give the Conn Smythe to a losing player.
Conn Man Smythe, more like it.
Conn Man Smythe is more like it. Billy is right on the mark with a bullseye on that one. Bullseye, right to the heart. Listen...
Well, but
you guys
trophy.
You guys keep referring to him as the king. He's uncrowned. Okay, let's start there. You just can't hop on board something that makes no sense. Okay, it doesn't make any sense to say, "Oh, give him another 5 years."
He's the
when
best.
He's already had 10.
It's a team sport. He's the best.
Yeah,
he's not.
You know what? There's 5 skaters on the ice, just like there's 5 players on the wood in basketball. Guess what? Michael Jordan did okay as the best player on a team. He won championships. In the same city, Edmonton, a guy named Wayne Gretzky won about 5 Stanley Cups for the city of Edmonton. He was just one guy too, but he was a guy who rose above it all and carried his team in a way that McDavid has not yet. I've never said McDavid was not a great player, but now you see the rest of the media sort of coming on board. I read a headline, I think it was on ESPN yesterday, and the headline was something to the effect, McDavid's back is to the wall. He needs to win a Stanley Cup. That's what I said last year, and I continue to say it. It's not a denigration of his talent. It's just, to me, it's stating the obvious, but I was the first one to state that obvious.
Mick overrated is not a denigration of his talent?
No, because here's why, Mike. Here's why. He didn't assign himself that plateau. Okay, you know who did? The media did, and fans did. We, and I don't include myself, we were the ones saying he's the king.
You mean McJesus?
McJesus,
yeah.
right.
You came up with
Mick overrated.
Right. He's everybody in the media, all the fans, not just in Canada, are saying this guy. Nobody ever, anybody like him. He's number one all time.
He's pretty great.
Everyone agrees.
Right.
Everyone agrees. Everyone
It's
watching.
not that great. You guys think that you're going to be friends with Connor McDavid? Like, I don't understand all this ass kissing. And Peter
a lot of
Blackburn.
glazing going on,
Who cares what Peter Blackburn thinks about anything?
Yeah.
Why
Peter
are you guys
Blackburn,
here going
white
to
hat.
defend him over Greg Cody, who you've known for 20 years? It's like you want the Panthers to lose, is what it sounds like. You want them to lose so that this Connor McDavid can win the cup, and you can all be right. Oh, I was so right about Connor McDavid. Now he's going to be my friend. Guess what? He doesn't give a shit about any of you. He's never going to give a about any of you. I don't know why you're all defending him. And you know what? When the Panthers win, no one in this room can celebrate except Greg Cody, who won't because he's a journalist. Because the rest of you are just rooting for this Connor McDavid to win and beat the Panthers for whatever reason, which I don't understand. So Peter Blackburn can come in your group chat and be like, thanks, guys, for having my back. I want to be your friend. I'm Peter Blackburn. Get out of here. Go to hell, Peter Blackburn.
Thank you. You know what, Billy? I'm glad you finally
Where's the loyalty in this building? It's embarrassing. Bunch of stars around here just wanting to get the big names to be your friends. Embarrassing.
Billy, I will tell you what's happening
Blackburn,
here. Billy.
What chaos?
Excellent.
What chaos is my question.
Excellent.
You're not spitting chicklets. Get out of here.
Excellent.
We don't need 2 hockey podcasts in the world, okay, Peter?
Hey.
The hockey show. That's the one I meant.
Thank you.
I guess we need 2, the hockey show.
Thank you.
Billy is still enraged from yesterday's pastelitos. 2 days of
that's
pastelitos.
behind me.
Okay.
They were good. I had a couple.
Thank you, Greg.
You did?
Yeah, I had 2.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah. Did they taste a day old? Maybe. But the flavor was there. The crunch was there. They were great.
Billy, you are correct. And what was happening in the other room, this is what was happening that Billy's been walking into. And
He is correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Finally.
Yes.
Must-win game today. I think we can all agree. Stanley Cup final.
That I'm star bleeping Peter Blackburn?
You are. Mike, come on. You're a known star. Everyone knows it. Yeah. You just want to be around celebrity.
Billy,
We know.
what?
I
hate Wednesdays. This is the 3rd straight one I've been scheduled on. Get me the out of here.
This is what.
Don't want any part of this. And I'm like adhering to some
Must
kind of like
win.
Wild Billy Wednesday construct.
I didn't ask
I'm
for
just
this.
like laying out. I'm like, yeah, let me
just
take
came
this
in.
ridiculous because he's got graphics. What is this?
You know what?
Must win.
I'm like laying out as he calls me a star. I'm like, yeah, no, well, it's a Wednesday. I guess.
You know what? Mike.
He's mad insulting.
Mike.
And you're like, he's right. What?
Yes, get out.
Because he
Mike.
has graphics?
Yes, it's his day, and you're in his
Give
way.
me a Mike Ryan Monday.
You're in his way.
No, it's everyone here. It's
No,
an open mic. Everyone can talk.
It's his
Hi.
day. We've been talking hockey, and we've been talking hockey very
Must win.
very seriously.
For who?
Respect Wild Billy.
Who's it a must-win for? It's
Today, must win.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is Game 1 ever must-win?
Oh, it is. In this series, it is.
No, well, but I'm just saying. Okay, I got what you're saying.
It's a championship. I don't
I'm
know if you know
saying
this.
Game 1
It's the
can't.
Stanley Cup final.
That's
all
why.
the games are must win.
No,
They-
but
see?
no,
Thank you,
that's
Roy.
not correct.
Roy's
No.
That
elevated
is correct.
this.
What are we
Yeah.
talking about here? It's the
Game 2's
championship
a must-win,
round.
too.
No, that's not correct.
Just simply not all must
it's
win.
not.
They are all must win.
This is not.
Do you want to go down 0-1?
Thank you.
Roy.
Roy gets it, finally.
I feel like White Hat would agree with me on this, that they're not all must
Yeah.
win.
Tony, you understand because just let me retreat for a moment, Greg, because you weren't here when this was happening. I saw Tony. Okay, Tony endures now that Boston and New York and Miami are out. He'll love basketball, but he endures this time of year in hockey. I saw him in the other room. He was surrounded by people who were dorking out on whether or not Bennett was the 6th or 5th best Panther if we had to redraft them in a draft.
We were drafting Oilers and Panthers from this series.
It was just what you were doing is asinine. And I heard chirping all around you that Ethan, who can't get enough hockey vomit all over everybody, and Tony the entire time is just staring straight ahead blankly as if he's been lobotomized. And I saw him. It was just words grazing across his face with foreign names. saying Bobrovsky the way Barkley does. Can you guys get for me the sound of either Barkley or Kendrick Perkins trying to talk about Bobrovsky?
So the issue is Jesse's doing my makeup and she's doing like a laser kind of thing to my eyes. I've got bags under my eyes. Dan, haven't slept in God knows how long. So I'm just doing my thing. I'm listening. I'm talking to Mike Fuentes. All of a sudden, let's draft Oilers and Panthers. I'm trying to figure out who's on whose team. I don't know. So I hear Sam Bennett. I'm like, I think I've heard that. Locally, I think I've heard Goldie say Sam Bennett
but
before.
they all rose.
Mike was making the argument for Sam Bennett like 5th or 6th.
That's impossible. He's for sure 3rd.
Yeah. No.
Right?
No, the top
Tony
3 are
gets
clearly
it.
McDavid, Barkey, Draisaitl. And then
White
you get
Leon,
into
that's right.
Then you get into Bob, you get into Bouchard, you get into the
Is he a Panther? Is he not a
Rhino,
Panther?
you can do there. It's a real debate after the first 3.
Bob's another thing. I'm tired of you guys praising Bob. You tried to kick him out of town for Spencer Knight like 3 seasons ago.
That's true.
Right,
Like,
that was
enough of
but
this.
the key thing you said there, that was 3 seasons
So
ago.
true, though.
Yeah.
We've been saying
So
sorry to
true.
him for like
Love admitting
2.5 years.
So
Now we
true.
kicked Knight out of town.
admitting what
the
I'm
show.
wrong.
The show has never been more wrong than it was about Barkley's beloved.
Sergey Bababka.
We were right back then.
We were down on Barkey too.
Yeah, he would go missing.
Dan-
I rushed back to draft Panthers and Oilers.
Oh, no.
All right, I'll take the first pick. I'll take
I don't think
McDavid.
that was 2 minutes. I don't think Mike was gone for 2 minutes. And Billy, I don't want to get in the way of Wild Billy Wednesday.
No, it's not getting in the way. This is a Stanley Cup final today. Must-win game tonight.
You haven't said for who yet.
Yeah.
But who's it a must-win for?
Everybody. What you guys
Tonight.
not get?
Yeah, I just don't.
Look, okay.
If the Oilers go down
You wanna
1-0,
set the tone.
0-1, that's bad. If the Panthers go down 0-1, it's bad. It's must win.
That's what I'm saying.
Guys,
Thank you. We're all on the same page. Most of us are on the same page.
Who's going to La Carreta? That's the question.
There you go. Talk to the Knicks. Knicks, they needed that first game.
It's
Ended
true.
up losing the Pacers.
And
was
then
a must
Tibbs
win.
get fired.
Well.
I was actually thinking about this yesterday. If that shot doesn't go in, is Tibbs still hired?
Yes.
If the one shot doesn't go in, is Tibbs
NBA Finals berth, you can't fire the coach right
at the
after.
at the very least they'd be in a game 7, right?
Keep your eye on the ball. We're drafting Oilers and Panthers.
No, we're not going to do that.
McDavid went first.
Yep.
Billy, I'm a little bit worried about you saying this is must win and Roy agreeing with you.
Why?
But because game 1 in no series ever played throughout all of sports history that is best of 7 or really best of 3. Game 1 is never must win.
You don't get it.
You don't get it.
You don't get it.
It's
get
about
it.
setting the tone for the series.
I just gave you an example. The Knicks needed to win game 1. They lost the series.
Can I get this sound again, please, of these two very popular hockey podcasters that Greg Cody has called cowards?
Popular.
Chris-
Only White Hat is the coward.
Chris, I have never heard your father refer to anybody publicly as a coward. Your father, I've said this to you guys before. You know your father holds himself very high esteem as a journalist. It's important to him to be a journalist. And as a columnist, and I'm speaking for you here, Greg, but you tell me if I have it wrong, he knows that like Edwin Pope, our mentor before us, when a columnist hammers you with a criticism, it's more than just some sports radio guy at a microphone who doesn't have the kind of standard that a newspaper man must have about treating human beings with humanity, because you have to interact with them and whatnot. I have nothing wrong so far?
No, that's fair enough. I think that it used to be that more than it is now, but your point is appreciated.
But this is the objection that you have, is it not? Is it not to what it is that the silliness is around us, that we're not as that you're high-minded about when you criticize somebody with coward?
Right.
It's a stinging criticism meant to rebuke from on high with the moral authority of journalism, even though nobody respects journalism the way they used to.
Well, I'm calling him a coward for 2 reasons. Number one,
He went after you.
No, White Hat is the one who didn't want me on. Okay. White Hat.
I'm so glad about that.
The other guy did. He didn't.
I told you on this past week's Greg Cody show, we can't have you on these type of podcasts.
No, that's not true.
You will get exposed.
Why?
He'll get exposed
No.
because he can name 2 players, well 3 because we said Skinner at the top end, and you keep calling him White Hat for an audio only clip. His name's Pete.
Well, no one cares about his name. He's not important. He called Greg a senile old man, which
Yes,
is
he
incredibly disrespectful.
And redundant.
And then he was a coward, as Greg pointed out, because he didn't even want to talk to Greg.
Thank you,
Guy's
Billy.
afraid.
He
He's
is afraid.
other things too. We're not going to call him
If
that.
he
though,
had
not
me
on
on
this
the
family
podcast, I would have gutted him like a fish. I'll tell you.
You
that.
know what? I want you to go on What Chaos.
No,
defend your
don't
position.
even dignify them with that honor.
Wait, why are you
Do
trying to
not
protect
give
them?
it to, I'm not
Don't
trying to
be a
protect them.
coward.
Don't give it
Go
to
on
them.
What Chaos.
No,
I haven't
don't
been invited on.
Don't give it to them. Don't even acknowledge their existence, losers.
Yeah, Billy brings up a good point.
Thank
maybe
you.
Maybe I shouldn't at this point.
You shouldn't.
Okay.
Why would you do it? They insulted you. That's no way to treat a guest.
But you know what? When you call someone, you're dealing with ageism here. When you refer to someone you've never met as a senile old man, that's an insult of the most personal order.
All right, let me hear this again, please. Let me hear this again. It
is totally fair.
is
He's
fair.
right to take offense to that.
We all are. This is what Billy's in support of. Like I am also torn here because I disagree with you pretty fervently on just factual, principled grounds that McDavid is pretty good. And we can all acknowledge that without calling him
as I
overrated.
acknowledge it.
Okay, no, but I will now turn around and I will fight the masses with you on. He may be a senile old man.
He's not.
But he's our senile
Yes,
old man.
that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll rally around him, which is why I want him to go over there and expose how flimsy
Not
this all is.
happening. No. Not
Imagine
happening.
writing off a 27-year-old man. the way
Don't
that he did
dignify them with
last
that
year.
response, Greg. Don't even pay. Greg's been covering hockey since his peak guy was in his dad's sack, okay? Like, enough of this.
First of all, I'm not writing him off. What I'm saying is, you don't get to be McJesus and the next Gretzky and the greatest player ever until you win.
Which White Hat kind of agrees with.
Greg's commentary is more so on the media covering him than on McDavid himself, and the media doesn't want to look themselves in the mirror and say that they erred in any way, that they may have been wrong and they may have jumped the gun.
Right.
Greg would be happy, more than happy, to see an all-time great hockey player playing, another all-time great hockey player playing in his lifetime. But he's not ready to just be crowning fake kings here, which is what the media is doing. And now, because Connor hasn't lived up to the expectations that the media gave him, fairly or unfairly to Connor, which we're not going to say, now the media is backtracking. And now they're so in the camp of Connor McDavid, because they don't want to be wrong about this situation, that they're not calling any of this without bias. There's clear bias here.
Okay, Billy, thank you for this. And
You're
I
welcome.
believe, Billy, that
Were there Tiger Woods is overrated columns in the early 2000s? Because that's what this feels like right now.
Tiger Woods was a winner. Connor
Woods,
McDavid's a loser.
Tiger Woods introduced
Cat.
himself to America by winning the Masters by 1,000 points. At no point was he overrated.
Just please.
Learn your history, Buck.
All right. The reason I'm siding with Billy on this is because
Thank you.
I insist that he put on a tie and, as Greg Cody's representative, that he go to war with this other podcast here.
No, I don't care
that
about them.
disparages our beloved Greg Cody. Play this sound again, because they're coming after Greg Cody, our beloved senile old man, in a way that's aggressive and disrespectful, and again getting in the way of what Mike Ryan wants to do, which is celebrate very politely
Draft players.
these two great teams.
Just want to draft players.
These two.
Where do you put Bouchard? Also, Ohtani was 29 when he won his first World Series.
Play this sound
Trout was
again.
holding him back.
Play it again for
played
Greg
in Japan
Cody.
most of his
Play
career.
it again for Greg Cody, please.
It's the laziest, stupidest, mailed-in column that this guy probably hasn't watched a second of the Oilers this postseason.
That's columnist behavior, though.
I
love
hate
that
it.
people
Look
like
at
this
this guy.
exist, though.
This is way lazier. He's not making any sort of coherent or strong point that you can agree with. He's just, and the Stanley Cup thing is fine. You can have that argument that you can't truly be considered one of the great until you win a Stanley Cup. But saying that's part of a reason why he's overrated right now in the middle of his career is so stupid, so lazy, so dumb. It's been trotted out there 900 million times.
You know what,
for
Burf?
900
No,
million
you know what,
athletes.
Burf?
He's
You don't
not
know,
doing
Burf.
anything new. He's just replaying and moving the pieces back into place.
I'm now back on Greg Cody's side, because right in the middle of that, he's like, well, on that Stanley Cup thing, he was kind of right.
That is a good point there.
Yeah, he hasn't won a championship.
Well, you got to pick a side, Le Batard.
Yeah,
you
pick
keep
a
going
side,
back and
Dan.
forth.
Because I heard the 9 minutes that these guys did on my dad, which is hilarious. And in it, he's like, if he wanted to write the column that eventually this noise will, that is essentially what my dad is doing.
Which is essentially what
He
I
just
wrote.
put a Mick overrated headline on it, and they basically agree with what my dad is saying. They're just saying, don't call him overrated. Just say he needs to win a title. I think it's just the Mick overrated
I'm going to
part.
give you a bit of a statistical boost here for your argument, because there was one person that these discussions were being had for when he was at a similar age. LeBron won his first title at 27. And the narrative around LeBron was he needs to win a title, especially after he formed a super team with Miami. So I think if you're chasing ghosts and trying to compare goats, the LeBron narrative actually fits your argument here. But he is very clearly the best player, the most talented player of a generation, probably beyond that. I will say, I wasn't around to see Wayne Gretzky's prime. This is the greatest player I've ever seen with my own eyes.
And you've been saying this for 3 seasons, because what they do on the power play is ridiculous. But, Billy, I think everybody was making fun of me yesterday because a couple of different times, and Roy, I think you'll appreciate this, I was describing, without saying McDavid's name even on first reference, what cometh this way. I would only say it about two players I've ever watched, and I guess Ohtani would be among them now, but it'd be LeBron and this guy on what's obvious to all, that this is whatever Wembanyama is supposed to be, faster. This is all-time great forever player, where even Gretzky's like, yeah, I see all of that is, and I'm like, that's the most complete thing I've seen since me. Everyone can see it. It's obvious.
And I guess when you look at LeBron, people were calling him LeBrick, that he didn't have a clutch gene well before he even went to Miami. So I think they held him to an impossible standard. And if you want to compare that apple to that specific apple, you're totally right in saying that he needs to do this. I think the frustrating part is I got no doubt that he's going to get one. He's going to get one, and he's got plenty of time.
Just not this year.
Get one.
Greg has doubt. Greg will continue to doubt until he's wrong.
Okay, he's certainly great enough to be a champion, to win a champion. I don't know. But 10 years in, he isn't. Or I should say 9 years in, he isn't. But when you call him the most complete player ever, he's not a complete player. Nobody thinks he's a great defensive player.
He's been playing on the penalty kill more. He's certainly a threat on shorthanded. He's not the best defensive forward on his team, but he's improved those aspects of his game. But I understand why.
Are you going to just keep undercutting him?
No. What I'm going to say is, if you're talking about the most complete player in this final, it's probably Barkov. Okay, the most all-round player.
I'd argue. Well, I got Draisaitl second.
Well, we haven't drafted yet.
Okay,
Yeah,
I would draft Barkov second.
I think the gulf offensively between Draisaitl and Barkov is wider than the defense.
Don't indulge White Hat. Like, here's the thing. They're coming on their podcast, and they're going through news from a year ago to try to stir up anything that they possibly
No,
can.
he rewrote the column.
And they're trying to bait you.
It's not last. It's not last.
You get to change history on a Wild Billy Wednesday. He wrote the same thing.
No, they're trying to bait you.
Copy and paste.
Two things. Number one,
was it the same column as last year?
It is.
First, I got to make this.
It's a re-release. That's what they do with the classics, like movies. Sometimes you go to the theater and Star Wars Episode 1 is out again because they re-release the classics.
But it's an all-time great. It's an all-time great.
Change dates. Put Seth Jones in there.
It's the same column.
I don't know if anybody else noticed with White Hat there.
Yeah.
But look closely.
Burf.
One of his tattoo decals is peeling off.
Mm.
I'm just saying.
What are we doing?
I noticed also an old Panthers jersey behind him. How are we supposed to think that they know hockey if they don't even have the right jerseys?
I need to stop everyone, okay? And Greg.
Whoa!
I'm not comfortable with Greg going into this fight unless he does so with Billy as his attorney, because I would like to debate. I'd like to have a debate. I don't worry about him being exposed as a senile old man if I can
Quit repeating senile old man.
What is that?
Why do you keep
What's
repeating
going
that?
on here?
That's terrible.
Yeah.
You shouldn't keep
Just
doing
pick one
that.
of them.
You're right to take offense.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's unfair.
I'm actually offended that kid in a white hat who's done nothing in his life. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he did. What did he do before spitting into a microphone?
Better voices
in the
Voice
media
isn't that
sphere.
great, honestly.
Okay. But I'm offended that he called me a senile old man, and I don't need you propping up that phrase.
Okay.
Next
But
thing
he's
I
a
know,
senile old man.
it's going to be on a Le Batard T-shirt. That's the way it works.
I mean, that's a great idea, and you shouldn't have given us that.
But he's a senile old man.
This brings me to my next topic perfectly. I don't think you guys know just how perfectly. We're going to send Greg Cote into this fight, and we're going to send him with Billy Gill as his attorney.
That's the chaos they're talking about.
The thing I wanted to ask you guys is 45 minutes ago when we started the Shadow Show, I asked you to close your eyes. Nobody did. Nobody follows instructions around here.
My eyes are closed right now,
Right,
Dan.
no.
Well, how'd you know my eyes were open?
Exactly. That's
how'd you know? Yeah, we got you.
Anyway, there was something on the desk here next to Greg Cote that I've since removed. And what I wanted to ask the group here, because we're out here and he's saying he needs a cup. McDavid will forever be overrated. He's going to be what Skip Bayless is to LeBron. Greg Cote is going to be to McDavid, where he's just questioning him the whole time. But I will not say senile old man again. However, if I were to say to you, there is a senile old man who hypothetically came into the studio, and next to him, he placed what would be his lunch next to him in a certain manner. What would that look like to you guys? If a a man who did not have his bearings, was at the end of life, and was bringing in the morning his lunch, what do you imagine that would look like?
Leading the witnesses here.
Seriously.
Just what would give off...
That he doesn't have his wits about him and he's senile? I would say a construction boot.
All right, what would give off the oldest possible senility that you would imagine? Because I'm going to say that Greg Cote bringing in today as his lunch 2 Jell-O cups with a golden spoon in a Ziploc bag would be what we'd be setting into this fight to argue on behalf of McDavid is not as tough as you think he is. I'm Jell-O eating Greg Cote with Jell-O cups as my lunch.
There's got to be a reason for that.
Okay, number one, I have never said anything or written anything to the effect he's not as tough as you think he is. I never. said he wasn't a
He's
tough
a hockey player.
He's exactly.
When you call someone not great defensively, that's kind of what you're saying.
Well,
He's not bad.
Obviously he's known for his speed and his offense.
Yeah.
Okay, he's
If
not
anyone's
known for
broken
his
down
defense.
if anyone's broken down his forechecking ability, it's Greg Cote.
He's never won the trophy that Barkov just won for a
Selke.
second time as the best defensive forward in the league.
He shouldn't have won it.
Never won it.
It's another trophy he hasn't won either, Greg.
Well, that's just it. But yet he's the king. Ooh, the king without a
Zero
doubt.
sugar.
Yeti?
Zero sugar.
Okay, can I explain why?
Well, sure, but I still want my hypothetical entertained. Like,
That's a pretty good one, but it's also uncharacteristic. So I imagine there's got to be a reason behind this.
There is a reason, but he's just playing it for laughs.
That's right.
And when I tell you what the reason is, that's going to fit with the old man narrative that he beats to death.
Oh, no. So you're afraid to defend yourself because it just gives them more ammo?
I brought in Jell-O because, yes, everybody get ready to laugh. Cue the laugh track. I am having a colonoscopy tomorrow. Okay, yeah, look, the old man is having a colonoscopy.
It's all
Guess
ruined.
what? Everybody over 45 should have a colonoscopy every 5 years because colon cancer is one of the most easy things to remedy if you catch it in time. Everybody, my middle-aged crowd out there, have a colonoscopy. It's worth it.
Yes.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Egg on your face, Dan.
Hey, credit to him for showing up today.
Yeah.
He could have got out of today.
Look.
Damn right I
70-year-old
could've.
man having a colonoscopy
I
tomorrow.
tried.
Are you on
tried
that
getting
thing
out.
that just goes straight through you and makes you poop everywhere?
Yes.
You're on that right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
No, not now.
Oh, coffee. I'm not talking about coffee. I'm talking about what they give you.
Yeah.
You're not on it now.
No,
You-
he is. He
I took
texted
it.
me yesterday like I may have to all show.
Whoa.
Greg, no, if you're in the middle of doing that and you've not done that before, you're going to be running back and forth to the bathroom every 3 minutes. Have you not done this before?
This is my third or fourth
Yeah.
colonoscopy.
He's
so
a
you're
vet.
a veteran?
So you're,
He
got
likes-
times.
At this point, he likes it.
So
I do. I sort of enjoy it.
It's fun.
your insides have callus to this medication that
that's
they
right.
give you.
Again, just in the hypothetical, a tapioca pudding
Yes.
of some sort.
Yes.
A
Sans context, that makes him look like the senile old man he's being
Well, this
alleged
is- well,
unfairly, I may add.
Thank
not
you, Mike.
unfairly, 12 hours before the Stanley Cup final begin, an epic rematch. Guys, this is an all-timer.
I know. Let's draft players. Number 2, Leon Draisaitl.
Oh, I got Barkey at 3. What a steal.
I have a question, Dan. Are we doing this based on current form or projections?
They've got 2 of the best 3 players.
You disregard age, and it's just in this series who you want. That's how we're drafting.
they've
Okay,
got-
number 3 is got to be Barkey.
They've got 2
Yeah.
of the best 3 players.
This segment is presented by LinkedIn Jobs. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/DLS. Terms and conditions apply.
I asked us to pace ourselves over these playoffs. I don't know if we have. Greg Cote does look a little bit relieved to not have had to do Heat at the same time as Panthers. He looks better at the end of this run than he looked at the end of the last run. But he just spent the entire break with pretty righteous indignation at both me and at the disrespect of White Hat. Because he's still saying, Greg is still saying that this is an act of cowardice and of great insult to be someone who doesn't have his journalistic pedigree and is very comfortable being disrespectful enough to call him a senile old man.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're my age and hear somebody without credentials referring to me as that, someone who's never met me, by the way, and probably has never read me or never heard me in his life, to be referred to as a senile old man, it cuts on a very personal level.
50 years a writer, 50 years covering sports, a half a century covering games.
But he's a senile old man.
That's just disrespectful in plain fact. Now, the cowardice comes from those two doing a show yesterday talking about me and about what I wrote and not having the decency to have me on, which I was under the impression they would have until White Hat didn't want to because he said, I would rather put knives in my eyes or whatever it was.
Which they pointed out, you'd still be able to hear the podcast.
You'd still be able to hear.
I hope he does.
As he heard it, he would be screaming, which wouldn't be all that bad.
But he's a senile old man.
People should have to follow through on that. You'd rather put knives in your eyes and have Greg Cody on. Well, you didn't have Greg Cody on. Knives out, baby.
That's right. By the way, I have yet to write an entire column calling McDavid overrated. Last year and again this year, I wrote about 4 paragraphs in a longer column.
What is the record you want to set straight? You were talking throughout the break. You wanted to set the record straight on 2 things.
Okay, I think superstitious hockey fans like Mike and others, and they referred to this on the hockey podcast yesterday. They're like, why would he do it now and rile everybody up? The bulletin board is dead, okay? Nobody is placing my headline in the Edmonton locker room. The most pathetic athlete on earth is the one who can't really get fired up for the Stanley Cup final, and he needs something outrageous that was said by a Miami columnist to get all excited about it.
The bulletin board has been replaced by the group text. Now that just gets sent around to their group via text.
But again, the point is, there was a big article out of Edmonton last year that McDavid apparently was aware that somebody in Miami had called him McOver.
No, his dad.
Okay, well, guess what? How'd that work out for him? He didn't get all riled up.
He won the Conn Smythe.
Yeah. Did he win the Stanley Cup?
I understand your point, but like the guy can't do more than be the most outstanding player in the playoffs.
Well,
That's just the
yes,
league.
he can, actually.
Yeah,
yes, he can.
Somebody should write the Mick underrated column.
That's also the league and the media trying to kind of cover their own asses on that one. Like, oh, look, he lost again. Here's a participation award, the Conn Smythe.
And I'll go a step further. If he wins a Stanley Cup, the narrative might well be, now he's got to win another one and another one. And here's why. If he wins one, if you're McJesus, you win one Stanley Cup in your 10th year, that's not enough. All of a sudden, you're Aaron Rodgers.
But I don't.
Better to win 0 than 1 if you're him.
Better to, well, no, I would never say that.
All right, thank you. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is the bulletin board dead? And I just don't think that we can say in this particular story, Greg, that you can say the bulletin board is dead when you, as a media personality, were the epicenter of last year's finals because of what you said, so silly in saying it, that it reached Connor McDavid's dad, who was at the elbow room and was telling others that he had no use for you. And this was the highest of indignance that was being expressed by a classy Canadian person, to be enraged by how classless you were.
Okay.
It got to McDavid's father. You don't think it becomes personal then? You can't say the bulletin board is dead when your words wounded his father so much that he's spilling drinks over at the elbow room and crying his heart out about why is this, quote unquote, senile old man.
But he's a senile old man.
Going after my great son, who's clearly the king of all kings.
Have you met Connor McDavid's dad? I'm just curious how you know he's classy. When
Canadians.
You don't know that.
I just wanted to make that clear.
Well, but
and it's not a silly opinion. It might be an outrageous opinion that nobody else agrees with, but it's not a silly opinion. Look, I'm using an American standard here. I don't know how they think in Canada.
You did that in the column. I don't know how you guys do it over there.
In the United States, you have
that was like
to
last
win
week
something.
when David did the 3 days a week podcast.
You got to win something to be a GOAT. You have to win something to wear a crown. All I've ever said was he's a great player who hasn't won the big prize yet. Win it, and then you can be McJesus.
But he's a senile old man.
Imagine had America lost World War I, but then they get Best War Participant Award.
David Samson's Nothing Personal
Never would have thought that.
podcast is now doubled the David. If you have not seen, he is now starting at 7 a.m. because he is a maniac Eastern, going 7 to 9 and giving you sports business lane. He is doing it stronger than anybody. I think I can make that argument. I don't know that even Ravel would have much objection to the idea that David Samson is owning the sports business lane right now, but his podcast is a lot more than that, and now it's twice the size. David, how has the first week of that experience gone? Because now you're talking to yourself 2 hours a day, and that'll make a human being crazy. 10 hours a week. You will be an echo chamber inside of your own head. You will be insufferable to people who love you. You will talk too much all the time.
What's different?
It's twice the David. Nothing personal, and he has gotten a great gig. Have any of you seen it? He's doing a great job. It is.
Thank you.
But I don't feel like. Do you feel like you have the support of the company? I don't feel like you and Pablo feel in any way connected to the shows that that you guys are doing in our network.
I'd say Pablo and I connect more often than anybody else within the company as we're talking about topics and shows and what's happening. But no, I feel very much a part of Metal Arc. I feel very much that Nothing Personal is a part of your network, your lineup. Really, really happy to be partners with DraftKings. They've been amazing as we've gone to 2 hours, just totally supportive. And they have me doing a bunch of other things related to like Club World Cup. And I love being a part of your team.
Press
so no,
conference
I'm
talk.
enjoying it.
It's a weird thing to toss out there, Dan, during his weekly hit.
Greg Cote is still indignant. Before anything else, and it's taken me too long to get here, and forgive me for this. So I think if you were to tell me what could be the most talk piece firing that could have happened in employment yesterday, where you would just get people talking about the importance of a coach and the value of a coach, is fire one guy yesterday. And give me, you guys might have another, but if you do it to Thibodeau when he's made your team better than it's been in 25 years, and anyone can assemble the argument that doesn't deserve to be fired, it's better than you have ever been, it makes for just a classic New York sports radio argument of, was this unfair or is it not unfair, when the new standard in sports is you better get it done within 5 years, man. Like, they've sped up the curves on, it was a long time ago with the Knicks, and that Derek Fisher and Steve Kerr were deciding who were going to coach that team. And they set a standard of $5 million a year of a coaching standard on the Knicks. Derek Fisher chose the Knicks. Steve Kerr went on to greatness. Thibodeau's the best thing that team has had at the top of its food chain since Pat Riley. This is their best coach, Jeff Van Gundy included. His success speaks for itself, but the criticism is fair on no bench and stubborn about minutes for the six guys, and then they burn down at the end, and management is entrusted with fixing the future when they've given up the 5 first-round picks for Bridges, so the only kinds of changes you can make are at coaching positions because you're locked in with 93% of your salary on 6 guys.
And Dan, you said the most important part. He got 5 years, right? Like the Knicks were getting better every season, but with getting better every season, the Tom Thibodeau way grinds on you and grinds on you and grinds on you until your best player's like, hey, this is kind of a lot, right? You've got his dad also lurking in the background. You got Worldwide West. You've got Leon Rose. You've got all these different players, James Dolan at the top. At a certain point, it's like the Mike Malone situation in Denver. You grind on people so much that it's like, you know what? It's better. Okay, thank you for taking us to the Eastern Conference Finals, but we're going to try and move on to the next coach that can probably take us over the hump.
David, his dad, his son, like, what are we doing?
I have a top 5 list if you're interested, because I've been thinking about it a lot. What announcement yesterday would have been more surprising or more newsworthy than Tibbs getting canned when he did? And I've got a top 5 firings that would be even more shocking had they been announced yesterday.
All right, so you're undercutting my point. You have 5. I'm an idiot. I've said this was the most
You thought
shocking.
one? You fool.
I'm a prisoner of the moment. You've got 5 better than this that could have happened yesterday. All right, let's see. Number 5.
Number 5, Rick Carlisle on the eve of the NBA Finals.
Okay, fair enough. Good point. You got me. I'm cornered. Gotcha.
Wait till I'm just getting started.
I know, you're just going to get started. Okay, very good. Number 4.
Mike Tomlin gets fired yesterday without Aaron Rodgers having signed. All of a sudden, they can him.
Maybe
it's
not. It's not New York.
That'd be a much bigger story.
Bigger sport, but not New York. Not New York. Not the beloved team coming off the bench. Okay, but fair enough.
He's Tomlin.
Number 3.
Andy Reid getting fired by the Chiefs yesterday.
Very good.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you know what?
What are we doing?
Like, leap off. No, he's being an
Do you want to
asshole.
switch to drafting Oilers and Cats?
You know what? I
have
do.
a top
Sam
15.
Bennett. 2 more.
Was it Mark Daigneault next?
No. You know what?
Guys, David's been waiting
Hold
for
on.
like
You
10
know what?
minutes.
Okay, well. Now
I've been waiting for an hour and a half to get to this
Got a
draft.
penalty, 5 minutes. Major asshole.
Yes, David gets 5 minutes.
Whoa!
We are going Panthers-Oilers draft. David gets 5 minutes for being an here. Absolutely. Go ahead. Panthers.
So, Dan, this was impossible because I'm doing it based on current form. The Panthers have been so even in terms of stat distribution this season that it's really hard. So I'm going to go based on current form. These are the best 15 players in this series.
In order.
In order, top to bottom.
Roy, how do you feel? Have you notarized this list?
I did not get to see it.
I would love your opinion on
wait a
this.
minute. Oh, now after the fact?
No.
I'm busy over here.
There's been no
I
collaboration.
approve of this. I approve of this.
I haven't seen it yet, though.
I ran it by the Duke. And he gave me some feedback.
I trust Mike.
He didn't like where Sam Bennett was placed.
All right, Bob better be top 5.
Based on current form, you might be right. Number 1, Connor McDavid.
Yeah, obviously.
You would even acknowledge that. Greg.
Yes. I think it's
He's had
debatable.
more 2-point playoff
between
games
him-
than 0.
okay.
It's debatable. What's debatable?
I
Hold
think
on.
it's debatable because he's not an all-around player in the way that Barkov is.
Okay, so it
Would
is-
I draft McDavid first? Yes, but I don't think it's a no-brainer.
Okay. Well, he leads the playoffs in points and has more 2-point playoff games than 0-point playoff
Anyone
games.
can get hot. Yeah.
Greg, are you simply, anytime anyone says anything positive about Connor McDavid, going to be there with but so that you can become Skip Bayless to LeBron?
No, I respect Connor McDavid's game.
But they just asked you to acknowledge he's the best player in the series, correct? And you're like, do you mean complete player?
He
Like,
said he'd take him number
I would
1.
give it a shaky yes.
Really wasn't expecting pushback for number 1.
shaky
No,
yes.
I agree.
this number 1.
I sanction drafting him first.
Well, then you're going to be
overall.
mad about number 2 because number 2 is not Sasha Barkov. Number 2 is Leon Draisaitl.
This is
That's
where
not
we
good.
disagreed.
The
Mike.
former Hart Trophy winner. Look, Draisaitl is a very underrated defensive forward. And I don't believe the gulf between, even though Barkov is a once-in-a-lifetime defensive talent, especially with smooth skating and all that, but the gulf between their offensive games is pretty wide. Draisaitl is a more complete, better, well-rounded offensive player, and that's not to take a shot at Barkov's game. We're talking about a former MVP of the league in Leon Draisaitl.
That's fair.
Okay, notarized, sanctioned. Wait a minute. Is Greg Cody sanctioned better than a confirmand? Is there a level higher than confirmand where we can get Greg Cody's sanctioned action? Because he's just giving
I vote
you-
no on that.
So far,
I think
so good, Duke.
confirmation is better.
So far, so good on the top 2?
Shaky.
This isn't even the best confirmant. I think Ethan's confirmant is number 1, and then Mike's, and then whatever's next.
Number 3, Sasha Barkov.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's good.
Number 4, Sergei Bobrovka.
Yep.
Yep.
You're going to get a lot of Panthers here, folks.
All right, now this is based on
on.
current form.
Roy, can you please get for me just Barkley? Can you knock these through? I just want to hear Babapka every time as a note as he goes through 1 through 15.
Sergei Babapka.
Number 5, Sam Bennett.
Sergei Babapka.
That's a shocker.
Ahead of Rhino,
That is
ahead
not
of
a shocker.
Chucky,
He's
ahead of Bouchard.
He's a team leader in goals.
I agree with that.
In this postseason, Sam Bennett has been a force, and he's making himself a lot of money. Hopefully, not too much. Maybe take a little hometown discount.
Sam Bennett is built for the playoffs.
His
I agree
hand
with that,
does not shake.
Oh, I watched The Departed last night. Yeah, Sam Bennett's great. Also, do you know during the NHL Combine, 0 pull-ups were accomplished by Sam Bennett. 0.
Don't need him.
I took Odin over Durant because Durant couldn't do 185 on a bench press.
I think it was 135, by the way, not 185. 185 is a lot. I think it's 135.
Dan, I'm curious your feedback. This is where it got really hard for me, but I know he's battling an injury, and he's not been the same player in that high slot offensively, but defensively, Sam Reinhart has been a titan, so I'm going Sam Reinhart, number 6.
Sergei Babapka.
Then number 7, I'm going Evan Bouchard. We got an Edmonton back there. The Bouchy bombs are just so important to what it is that they do. They have guys over there cleaning it up. Now, Zach Hyman isn't there to clean it up. It'll be interesting. Hyman probably would have made this top 15.
He's a series changer.
He could help, certainly.
There's a lot of movement I'm
There
noticing.
is,
There's some
because-
back and forth there between
There is.
7 and 11.
There is. Number 8, Anton Lundell.
Sergei Babapka.
Oh,
Yeah,
how about that?
baby
Barkey.
baby Barkey, two-way
Okay,
player.
all right.
I mean, you want to look at Brad Marchand's success and Lucy's success. You look at the centerman on that line. Anton Lundell has been super consistent. and
Folks, we
improving
haven't
every day.
said Chucky yet.
Haven't said Chucky yet.
Number 2, David.
Number 9, this is going to be shocking because I'm still not going to say Chucky. Luciano.
Aaron Boone.
Sergei Babapka.
Okay.
He's been incredible. A little bit of a down series towards the tail end of that Hurricanes series. You could have said he's been Florida's best player, entering that Carolina series. Then we're going to go with Matthew Tkachuk.
At 10?
This is not projecting for their future career. He's very clearly hindered by this injury. He is not the same player, but he's still top 10.
A lot of cats in a row.
But he's not the person that has probably fallen off the most based on current form, because if I was doing this last year on current form, Gustav Forsling would have been a top 5 player. I'm going Gustav Forsling number 11. We're going Ekholm 12. We're going Swaggy 13. We're going Nugent Hopkins 14. And this may shock you. Brad Marchand, congratulations. You round out the list.
A shocker at the end.
Gotta get the dirt line in, Stan.
Samson, what is fair on Thibodeau?
And for the record, that's 5 Oilers and 10 Panthers.
Yeah, don't care. Just wanted to bother David for 5 minutes.
David would only look more annoyed right now if he was theatrically looking at a watch.
Thibodeau, your thoughts.
He did that already.
Samson, you already did this for 2 hours on Nothing Personal. This is the talk topic of the day. You have a couple of exceptions, but Thibodeau being fired, your thoughts?
Well, number one, don't believe that it wasn't Jimmy Dolan who did it. Obviously, Leon Rose, the president, is saying in consultation with James Dolan, but that's just horse hockey. The owner makes this call, not Leon Rose. The fact is the Knicks are doomed unless James Dolan stops making the decisions, and I could argue he has not stopped with the trades they made, including Cat, Randall. Everything is done with Dolan. He is super controlling, super meddling like many other owners. The problem is he's never won a ring of any kind. And to get rid of Tibbs is fine. You look at Tibbs, he looks angry, grumpy, and despondent on the sideline. You question their defensive schemes. You question the fact they couldn't deal with Indiana's full court press. You look at the makeup of the team and realize that Leon Rose isn't doing his job either, as they were outmatched by Indiana and certainly would have been by Oklahoma City. As far as I'm concerned, move right along, find someone else. But if it's still Jimmy Dolan running it, the Knicks will never win a title in my lifetime, and that bothers me.
How do you know all of this? How can you speak with such absolute authority? Can I let me just?
Because I used to run a team that had an owner just like it.
All right, so let me ask.
So I get it.
Okay, so I want to ask the group here, though. When I say that that David Samson has an uncommon sports business lane, he is talking about things with an authority from the insides of a sport in a way that are super cold, but also accurate. How can you say with such conviction all the things you're saying when that requires reporting, David? It requires, in order to know that James Dolan made that decision, is to know the inner workings of the Knicks, and the Knicks have changed how they were doing management. The new management of the Knicks was being allowed by James Dolan to do what it is that they wanted to do.
I'm sorry, where did you get that information? Is that from Pablo Torre?
That's what's been reported, David. What do you mean from Pablo Torre?
You understand that I could get anything reported. All I have to do is get it out there. Hey, George Steinbrenner let Brian Cashman and Joe Torre run the Yankees, and that's why they got successful after my suspension, and that's when everything changed. Oh, wait a minute, we had Jeter, Posada, Pettit, etc., and a few guys doing steroids. There is not one owner out of any of the top owners, top leagues, who is not involved in a coaching change. It just doesn't work that way. And did I report it? No. What? I'm going to call up Jimmy. Hey, Dolan, that was you, not Leon. No, they're going to say it's Leon so the owner can have plausible deniability. But I'm here to tell you there's not one coaching change that's ever happened where an owner was like, oh, I didn't know that you were thinking that.
How are you feeling, David, about the fairness or unfairness of firing Thibodeau after 5 years?
It is absolutely within the owner's right to do anything he wants. Fairness. Thibodeau's been a coach. He did 5 years. It seems like he could be the Patino of coaches, where stick and move, stick and move. 5 years in Chicago, 3 in Minnesota, now 5 in New York. There are a bunch of managers and coaches whose voices get drowned out after a certain number of years because they come in hot, stay hot, and leave.
But more success than a Knicks franchise has had in 25 years. Like, that's not up for dispute. Is it the results business or is it not?
Well, exactly. To me, it's the results business, and I don't think about the money, which I certainly could have. You guys haven't even mentioned the fact that Jim Dolan is willing to give Thibodeau $30 million on the way out the door. He just got extended, which shows you how extensions that are given to coaches and managers are really meaningless to owners.
But Samson, What happened here? Like, what does this mean that somebody with more success than a Knicks coach had gets bought out at the end when most Knicks fans could say that's not the reason they lost? Like, don't you think that most Knicks fans today are happy that Thibodeau's out?
There are plenty of Knicks fans who look at the way that he got out-coached by Rick Carlisle in the conference finals. There's plenty of Knicks fans who look at the makeup of the team and say, listen, you cannot run your guys ragged and expect to lead the league in minutes with two guys who don't play defense, Brunson and Cat, and end up on top in a playoff round where defense matters and the coach is supposed to be defensive-minded. I think there's plenty of Knicks fans who look at it that way, but frankly, I don't care the way they're looking at it. Jim Dolan looked at it and said, hey, I hear the noise. We came one home game short of the maximum in the Eastern Conference, and then we still could have had 3 more home games where he prints millions of dollars by loyal fans who don't care about mediocrity and losing. And at the end of the day, they actually reward him for his behavior because they continue to pay more and more money. It's the most profitable home game there is in all of basketball.
David, do you think Thibodeau is now a hot hire in the NBA at age 67, or do you have doubts about that?
I think, and this is going to be a little ageism, and I don't want it to be given who I'm talking to and me, Greg. I would like to believe that he would be able to have one more run with the team. But the way that coaches are being hired now, like managers, it's not as many retreads. You know, the Ron Washingtons are really drowned out by some up-and-coming bench coaches who, like a Joey Espada, who gets an opportunity finally, or a Brandon Hyde. Obviously, he's been fired since. But I think that the Knicks will be very telling. Jim Dolan will want a name. He'll want a retread. If Leon Rose is good as his job, he'll find the next Oklahoma City Thunder coach, and I don't want to butcher his name because I do it every time.
Dagenham.
But someone who you've never heard of, who likely will be a way better coach for a bunch of guys, but impatient owners normally don't want that.
Way better, a way better coach
than a retread.
I mean, they're going to go get somebody who's way better than Tom Thibodeau.
Oh, I think that just somebody different is what they want.
Well, but that's not the same thing. Like that. How much
but that's
better?
Why changes get made.
Okay, but David, yes. Can you explain to me why you'd get such glee out of the fact that James Dolan is one of the worst owners and he has this power and he flings it around and he continues to make money and win even though he's a buffoon?
Well, you say I get glee. Remember, I started my life as a Knicks fan in 1974. I missed it by a year. And I've gone my whole life without seeing the Knicks win a title. So I don't know what glee you have in them losing in the conference finals.
It seems like you like that, James. You're taking a certain delight in telling us, hey guys, this is just the owner wielding his power all over the place, making a mess, being sloppy because he's going to remind everyone that he's in power, and there are never going to be any consequences, even though he's a buffoon because he's got the most expensive ticket in sports. And Thibodeau, honestly, great for business the last couple of years. Like, spectacular for business. The Knicks, people cared about him. Hey, Thibs, get out the door. Like, you can't say that's results-based. You just can't.
I'm sorry. Did you say he's a buffoon for having the most expensive tickets in the sport?
No, James Dolan is a known buffoon.
Okay, so that's two different things. He's doing great business at the Garden, and he's got fans who are loyal and who pay money to see him. Now, notwithstanding the networks going bankrupt, but that's not actually his fault. So I would just argue this on behalf of Dolan, and it's hard to argue on behalf of someone who is perceived the way he is, but he looks at that and says to the fans, I want you to have a title. He doesn't really mean that because he wants more home games and himself to have a title, but he says we failed. Therefore, a change is coming. I'm not going to fire Leon Rose because it makes us look too disorganized. So we'll fire Tibbs. We'll bring in someone with the hope of we're going to get you where you want to be next year. It makes perfect sense to me.
And from a basketball standpoint, it happens quite often where you let go of a coach who did well, and then another coach comes in, creates a different culture. Look what Steve Kerr did. Mark Jackson, I brought this up on the alley-oop a couple of weeks ago, or last week. Is this a situation where we could see Tom Thibodeau get to the Eastern Conference Finals, lose, and then get fired the way Mark Jackson did, where he took him to the playoffs. He was right there at the edge. They have the same identical record, 51-31, Mark Jackson's last year and now Tom Thibodeau's last year. Where you look at that and say, can another coach get us to the next echelon and get us to the NBA Finals? They work with Steve Kerr. They went on a dynastic run. Now you're looking for the next guy. Could it be Johnny Bryant, the guy they have on their own bench who they blocked from having Phoenix take a look at him? Could he be the next name? Could Jay Wright come in and be the savior for New York? Like, there's a lot of options.
All right, so this is Cat on the second team now that Tibbs ends with, right? This is the second time this has happened to this particular pairing. What are you smiling about, Samson?
Because that's a funny narrative that the media has. It is not that Cat is the downfall of Tibbs because he's been there, Minnesota, and now New York when he got canned. That's just a coincidence.
David, we're not going to be doing a lot better than Thibs. We can agree on this. Like, we can argue in the margins, and I'm not saying there can't be improvement, and I'm not saying in the results business you can't go cutthroat about getting improvement. And we can say voice is tired in the locker room and can only change so much of the players. But you can change the players. Cat could be available. Like, you can't.
They do need to get better, but you're looking for 5 more wins. I think that's the way that teams look at it who lose in the LCS or lose in the ECF or WCF is you try to figure out how do you make up the increment, or if you win, you figure out how do you stay it on top. And you don't know how many opportunities you're going to have. You look at the construction of your team. The way the Knicks are put together, they are not able to win those extra 5 games. You start with a new coach, but you can't stop there. You got to change out those players in some way, shape, or form, because otherwise you will not ever get those 5 games with this group.
The other thing, too, is I think the Mikal Bridges trade was foisted onto Tom Thibodeau. Like, there was internal issues between him and Mikal Bridges throughout the entire season. And now you're looking back and saying, okay, the front office gave 5 first-round picks to get this guy to be their piece, their missing piece to beat the Celtics, to go on to the finals. And that never gelled with Thibodeau.
Let me get some sound here, not just of JD and the Straight Shots, James Dolan's great band. I don't know if I can play that music without getting in licensing trouble.
You can't.
When you talk it out, the answer's there.
Okay, so in the absence of that, perhaps I can borrow just some Mad Dog talking about this firing in a way that if I had to guess, my guess is that Mad Dog is not going to agree with David Samson at all.
This makes the Knicks a laughingstock. You don't fire this guy. How do you fire a head coach who took the team to the Eastern Conference Final for the first time in a quarter of a century? The team needs a new voice. How the hell does Jim Dolan know? Dolan doesn't know anything about basketball. What are you kidding me? Jim Dolan? I mean, come on, Jim. Let him go build spheres, in Vegas, in Paris. That's what he's good at. Let him go figure out a way and, rip us all off with optimum. How about we have Jim do that instead of sitting there worrying about who his head coach is going to be? This is a guy who's run the Knicks since, the mid-'90s, and essentially has done absolutely nothing. Nothing. And then he sits there with this dopey hat on, on the baseline, and he sits there, and because they lose to Indiana, because Towns and OG miss free throws with big leads in the fourth quarter of game 1, and that's the reason why they lost the series. They lost the series because Naismith went crazy in the last minute of game 1, and OG and Anthony Towns missed free throws. If either one of them makes both free throws, the game is over, and the Knicks probably has to play it.
Known buffoon.
That's who you want to side with in the legend of buffoonery.
It is a dopey hat.
Yes, stupid ass hat.
It is a dopey hat. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is it a dopey hat? Again, known buffoon, James Dolan. The man does not deserve any kind of sports respect. He shouldn't have firing power over anyone in sports.
Known buffoons.
He's the owner.
Known buffoons win. They can. They can win in sports. You can get lucky.
I'm just saying,
Jeffrey Loria.
If sports were fair and business weren't dirty, known buffoon James Dolan of JD and the Straight Shots would not get to win by saying that Tom Thibodeau is not good at his job when Tom Thibodeau is only miles and miles better at his job than James Dolan has ever been at anything other than the dirty politics of how you make money in New York, even if your product actually sucks because you just have an arena in the center of town that will make profit forever because people want to love the Knicks so much that they don't care that their owner is a buffoon. They tolerate it.
A known buffoon.
Yeah, but
you're the greatest, Dan. You're the greatest economist I've ever come across. You just made the exact argument for why Dolan is not a buffoon. You made it word by word.
Yeah, but the closest he's come to winning wasn't even with the Knicks. It was with the Rangers when they lost to the Kings in the Stanley Cup final.
He's never won anything and is, again,
He made the
like
Sphere,
McDavid.
which was a win.
a known buffoon.
Billionaires a win too.
Can I give you my number one that would have been way bigger news today than
He's a
Thibs
nepo
being fired?
baby. Yeah, I mean, how did he win? What did James Dolan do to become a billionaire?
He won the gene lottery. What are you
Right.
talking
He
about?
works
You don't want to be James
hard.
Dolan?
He
Guys,
acquired his dad's team.
He works
Okay,
hard.
and
But you said he's a billionaire as if like he achieved something. He just climbed out of the womb.
achieved or not, that's still a win.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Cool.
It's not easy being a billionaire, guys.
There's a room full of people that think that billionaires are losers and Pete, whatever the hell his name is a big
Oh,
winner.
I forgot. My bad.
White hat.
Put
White
it on the
hat,
poll.
Pete White hat.
Nice hat, asshole.
Ass hat.
Y'all had to get in with the ass. The ass. You just heard the word ass, and everybody was like, I've got my signature for that ass hat. The Suns are aggressively looking to trade Kevin Durant.
I'm ready to get my heart broken one more time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. I need you to trust me.
You
One last
You want
time.
Durant for the Heat?
Yes, I want to see one of the game's greatest scorers in the history of the game play in a Miami Heat uniform, as I've been edged by this franchise for 17 years on acquiring this guy, it feels like.
My information is I'm going to say 2 months old or 3 months old, but the
best kind.
The only way you get Durant is it's got to be picks. It's got to be picks.
We got some of those.
I mean,
Let's make it happen. Come on, we've seen this team.
Not enough.
God, we've seen this
4.0.
team. Give me Kevin Durant. I want to have a franchise that had LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kevin Durant play for it. That'll be cool.
David, your thoughts?
He is old. He's not the Kevin Durant that he was. He's not the centerpiece of a championship team anymore.
You signed
He can't be
Ichiro.
the third piece with Bam and Tyler and form a threesome that in any way would get Miami a title.
dude.
It's dangerous to overpay for a name that used to be. You want to pay what he's worth,
I think he's-
and what he's worth is not the package that the Suns want. Because remember, you're dealing with an owner there, Ishbia, who doesn't want to wear egg on his face, who created this team in Phoenix that has failed, and now he wants to get out of it, but without looking bad.
This is a team that very clearly needs a player better than Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. And I think today, at his age, Kevin Durant strolls in with that head coach and is that.
Yeah, I don't know that you will get Durant without giving up one of those two, however.
No, but I'm telling you that that's not what the Suns wanted 2 months ago. I know you got to make contracts match up, but what they wanted 2 months ago was picks. They did not want players. I think you've seen enough in Pablo Torre Finds Out and elsewhere to know that Ishbia, when you talk about meddlesome management and whatever Isaiah Thomas is doing in the shadows there, it's a giant epic fail for one of these owners who spilled money all over the place. And now, I can't tell you how epic a fail that Beal contract is. And they went for it, didn't come close. And now it ends with Durant slinking out a side door. This is not what you want for an all-time great scorer. This has been a disaster. And they've got to, as of 2 months ago, the information I had is that they were going to rebuild it with picks. It's not about getting Bam or Hero. And the Heat didn't want to go down that path because that's what it was going to take. And there are other teams that will have enough to Kevin Durant's an economy. Whether he's old or not, we can agree, yes, that Kevin Durant.
We can agree that he's old, but we can also agree that he's still good.
I think a lot of people would say terrible at defense, and how good is he really if that Suns team can't even get into the playoffs? Because he can get, yes, of course,
Sounds like McDavid.
he'll be able to score 28 a game on 48% shooting for the rest of his life on jump shots, but what else?
Dude, the best player right now is atrocious on defense. Your all-star is atrocious on defense and would get picked on more than Kevin Durant would because Kevin Durant is a 7-footer. Even at this age, I'd rather have Kevin Durant's long ass out there than Tyler Hero.
It's also just a name, right? Like the Heat just need to sign a name at this point in time after swinging and missing so many. Like they just need a win, whether or not it's going to lead to wins on the court.
We need to say we're going after someone, and then we get them.
Yeah, exactly, Chris Cody, and Wild Bill's right on the money. We need a player that is better. We need better players.
Well, no, then you also have him forever as part of your franchise's history moving forward. And then when the Heat are in another downswing, oh, guess what we're going to do? We're going to retire Kevin Durant's jersey, and we're going to sell the nostalgia stuff. And one of the all-time greats was wearing a Heat jersey. Like, that's what they need him for at this point in time because the fan base is kind of out on what they're doing.
I mean, does Kevin Durant at his age make you a championship contender in the first year or two?
No.
If the answer is no, then why would you go for him?
I like the ingredients better if he's a part of it.
Well, they're not a championship contender in the first year or two now.
All right, hold
No,
on.
they're not, but
Please.
they have to be.
David Samson, before we get to the review, this part is new information. And you're going to have to look up for me this because I wasn't prepared to say this and I was meaning to check up back on this, but now that this is going to heat up a little bit, I can tell you that, and you guys are going to have to explain what this means to me because I don't know who the 5 guys are. But the Heat would believe to be in play for whoever the 5 guys are that have had that would have to reach out. However, it is that these things happen, where Antetokounmpo's people or Joel Embiid's people. I haven't even asked who the 5 people are, but you guys could probably tell me who would be Anthony Davis would be among them.
We're
correct?
ranking disgruntled superstars.
Just 5.
I got Zion Williamson 5th.
Stars that would want out.
The block is a little hot on that one. I don't know if you've seen the news.
Yes, that one I didn't think it would have been Zion, but whatever it is that what would the 5 calls,
Trae Young?
What would the 5 calls have to be? Because Embiid would be one of them, would they not?
Man, I think we're ready.
Giannis has to be number 1.
Are we ready to call that Joel Embiid thing?
Are we?
It's cooked. I think the call is cooked.
Wow. All right, we got less than a minute left here, Samson. What are you reviewing for us this week?
Oh, less than a minute. We needed to talk about Brett Favre. There's an Untold that you can watch on the fall of Brett Favre.
Stinks.
My God, it doesn't happen often. I hope somebody out there watched it. It's only 63 minutes, and it goes into pretty big detail that as good as you can be on the court, if you are a complete buffoon off the field and you commit crimes, take advantage of people, and do things that basically ruin your reputation permanently, then you're just Brett Favre. And he's spending the rest of his life trying to make good for not having stolen money from people who are on welfare, trying to prove that he didn't do any of it, but he's going to have a hard time proving it, and it's quite a story. It's called The Fall of Favre on Netflix, Untold.
It stunk.
63 minutes. It wasn't a great documentary. I'm talking about the story, Dan. I'm asking people to learn the story.
It's been told. The
No,
story
it was
was
untold.
told. No, it wasn't untold.
New series, been told.
It
We didn't get David's
told.
number 1.
Done been told.
And Dan, not that you need help with 5 guys in your life, but I got Greek Freak, KD, Joel Embiid, Trae Young, and Zion Williamson.
This face makes me happy seeing it. He's coming to Dania. Gary Owen. He's got a new comedy special, Gary Owen No S. It's available now exclusively on Mint Comedy, and it's 5 shows. Dania this weekend, June 6th through the 8th. Where are you right now? You're on the grind. You've got a 2-year-old. You've got teenagers. You're still out here fighting on the comedy grind near Dania in a hotel that looks swank. You're living good, but you're on the grind. Good to see you, Gary. Thank you for making the time.
Thanks for having me. I'm in Seattle right now.
You're in Seattle?
Yeah, I'm in Seattle, and I'm in Tuscaloosa tomorrow, and then I'm in Dania this weekend.
That's not a great direct flight situation. Seattle to Tuscaloosa. What's a direct flight situation looking like?
What is happening there? This seems inefficient. The tour goes through Chicago, Kansas City, Charlotte, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., but Seattle, Tuscaloosa, Dania seems like bad. That seems no good.
It's a lot. I ain't gonna lie. It's a lot. I do a podcast with another comedian called Nate Jack. His name's Nate Jackson, and I come out here once a month, and I come out here for 3 days, and we record for the whole month. So that's what I'm doing in Seattle right now.
How do you feel when you do Meet the Blacks or Ride Along or Think Like a Man? When you're doing the movies, does it give you the same kind of fulfillment that the tour does?
Nah, stand-ups, it's so immediate. Whereas when you're doing the movies, you're not getting the reaction until 9 months later when it comes out. So whenever you're doing a movie, you're almost looking at the grips and the camera guys to give you the okay, because the actors aren't going to do it during the scene. So you're looking for the guy holding the boom mic to give you a little chuckle sometimes.
Okay, so you're saying there's not the reward is the laughter.
Yeah, for sure, sure.
And so acting is just something to do on the side that does what for you?
Build your stand-up fan base.
Okay, so it's all okay. So that's what it is. Okay, it's a means to an end. Then it's work that allows the comedy to live, because making a life at this on laughter is pretty hard, no matter what your age is. I don't think people understand what a grind it is.
I always tell people the hardest part about my job is the travel. The stand-up's the easy part at this point. Now I'm kind of like, almost in my Yoda years. Like I got it. I can work with any crowd. But the yeah, like you said, the flying and the travel is the grind. But I am staying at decent hotels. I'm not flying Spirit, so it's not that bad.
Okay, so can you?
Spirit's safe. There have been no fatalities. We've talked about this a number of times, Gary. Everybody is out here crapping on Spirit. They've never crashed.
I'm talking about comfort. I'm not talking about death.
Okay, good, Gary. I'm just saying. Some Spirit deniers out here.
There's no first class in Spirit.
If the
Big
standard
first
is-
seats.
If the standard is not dying, Spirit's got you.
So other airlines don't, to be fair.
Can you put us next to you whenever it is that you found out that Ebony Magazine had proclaimed you Black America's favorite white comedian? Can you take us through whatever that story is, please?
No, one of the editors called me, and I guess I don't know how I got that title, but it was because my first TV appearance was on BET, and then almost every movie I've done had a black lead actor. So I became black people's guy as far as white people goes.
Okay, but I don't know what these quote marks are doing, and it doesn't sound like you've given this a lot of thought because it was at the BET docuseries. I mean, you had a reality show, right? Like,
we pitched it to all the networks. BET bought it. We went to everybody. But BET bought the show, so I'm like, yeah, I would have went on Telemundo if I spoke Spanish.
But where does that show rank in terms of giving you? I mean, it's such an unusual thing. You have all comedians are looking for a lane. Where do I find my constituency? Where are my customers that are going to be with me for decades? Because whatever, they ride with me over 25 years of comedy. Like it's a happy accident that you ended up being popular to Black America?
Well, I was in the Navy and I was in San Diego and I was listening to the radio station called Z90. It was a hip hop station. And they said, we're looking for the funniest black comedian in San Diego. So I entered and I won it. And so once I won it, that got me auditioned for Comic View. And then that got me on BET. So when you're early in your career, you're just trying to get on TV, and you don't choose your audience; they choose you. So I just my first couple breaks was on Black Entertainment Television, so I just kind of ran with it.
I'm sorry, did I misunderstand you? Did you win a funniest black comedians contest?
Oh yeah, but it was San Diego. It's not like it was Brooklyn.
But wait a minute. But wait a minute.
It's an important distinction he made.
Okay, but what was the competition?
It wasn't too stiff.
San Diego, not New York.
We got Tony Gwynn.
But were you the only white guy?
Oh, we got Tony Gwynn and Natron Means.
Careful, Dan's going to ask you for more.
No, I am going to ask him for more. You know me so well. What are the after effects of the docuseries, The Gary Owen Show? Like when you look back on that as a piece of work in your life and what it is you were trying to achieve with it, how close did it come to being what you imagined?
I guess I didn't put too much thought into it. It was cool. We didn't break the curse. Everybody, when we got the show, we said, don't do reality TV. Everybody gets divorced. Yeah, we didn't break that curse because we got divorced a couple years later.
That's universal. That advice everyone gives you on the front end.
That's what everybody says if you go to social media. They're like, yo, if you do reality TV, everybody ends up broken up or divorced eventually. And yeah, we kept that streak going.
Well, but it seems invasive. It seems like there's no way to not have a private life if you've always got cameras around. It seems impossible for a relationship that's navigating that kind of fame and attention to not break, or be threatened because just people are around all the time.
Well, let me tell you something. Those producers are good. They're like, because my ex-wife, she was like, oh, they're not coming in our bedroom. They're not recording in our bedroom. Day one, they was like, we got to be in the bedroom. And they were in the bedroom. I was like, how'd this happen? That was like her big thing when we pitched the show. Like, they're not going to be in our bedroom. That's going to be our sanctuary, our private area. But somehow they got in there.
Do you have a pop culture topic that everyone's seeking your opinion on these days? Any question that you're getting about what's happening in the news that is about one subject matter more than another?
I mean, everybody's asking comedians about Diddy. That's the big one right now.
And you just do what with that?
I can't say it on your show.
Sure, you can.
You do, but you do a private show. You do a private show for all of the people.
This is network TV, right?
I mean,
no, not network. Network is
DraftKings Network,
subject to FCC fines. We're totally good. We let it run. Billy was calling me a star earlier.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Yeah, my biggest thing is like it's nice to know that his penis looks like a Tootsie Roll, because so far black guys have all had just huge. So it's nice to know we're on the other side of it a little bit. There's balance.
Dan, you don't get to make that face.
You see this?
Yeah.
He warned me.
Dan's question was like, hey, what's the pop culture thing everybody's asking you? All right, talk about that.
Everyone's mind went to Diddy, right? When Dan brought up the question, we're like, okay, you're asking him about Diddy.
And your opinion on just ask him about Diddy.
But I didn't know whether it would be Belichick. I didn't know whether it would be Kendrick Lamar's tour. I don't know what how could I possibly know the thing that everyone's asking him about?
You don't get to make the face, is what we're saying. You don't get to be like, well, that's right. People talk about his little pecker.
No, but that's not... You think I was seeking that as his answer?
Yeah, quite literally. You asked him, what is the
did.
pop
Yeah.
culture thing everybody is asking you about? And then you're like,
Kendrick Lamar's tour. What are you talking
There
about?
are other choices. There are other choices he could be making.
Kendrick Lamar's tour.
Pull that one from.
What do you think about tariffs, Gary?
Look,
senile old man.
Over 20 years, I didn't think you could get worse at tossing things up to comedians. But yet, here we are.
Did he follow up or no?
Did he follow up?
His new comedy special, Gary Owen, No S, is available now exclusively on Mint Comedy. And if you want upcoming dates and tickets, GaryOwen.live is where you go. After 30 years or 25 years, I don't actually know what the number is. Why is this comedy special to you?
It's crazy how this comedy special came about, because I was recording my last one, Broken Family. And, you know, when you do comedy shows, you'll do a couple episodes and edit them together. And we recorded that Friday. And I said, are we good? Did we get that in the can? They go, yeah. I go, I think I got another hour. So then we recorded this one on Saturday. So this one was more like just spur of the moment, kind of winging it a little bit. So it came out kind of dope. I was actually kind of excited, because comedians, when you get a special, you work so hard for that hour. This one just came about. So...
so it didn't take like a year of work and crafting. You were able to release something into the wild without having to suffer it the way you normally might? Like, it was easier?
Yeah.
It was easier?
Yeah, it was kind of dope. It's almost like a freestyle rap a little bit.
Oh, that must have felt good to not have it be a tortured exercise where you get tired of your own act on the way to making it.
Yeah, right?
I would think so. But to have it meet your standard is the tough thing, right? Like, to be unforgiving enough in what it is that you're making to not have to obsessively crush it with however it is you sculpt these things.
Well, you do your hour and you're cutting and pasting the whole time for the year, getting ready. But this one was like all the stuff we were cutting. I go, some of that stuff's still funny. So this is like, we still got so much left over. Let's piece it together. And not just has to make sense, because you got callbacks and things like that. So it was kind of just recording it. It felt like, oh man, this is coming together nicely without any pre-production or planning.
Roy, can you play for us, please, the late Bob Saget telling us his saddest stand-up story, and we will ask Gary Owen to recall a time that he had to perform in a sad venue. But let's hear from the late Bob Saget first.
We were three comedians doing this gig, the strip club, and Kevin Nealon and I went to go look at Mount McKinley, like two guys would do, like two bros, and the other comic was just in the trailer with the strippers all weekend. So, I'm on. They're going to introduce me, and there's a stripper on stage, and she had pie pans over her chest, 2 pie pans, and then another one lower in her lower region, with matches, literally just matches, paper matches, Scotch tape to the pie pans, and then she lights them, not even sparklers, just matches.
Just matches.
Lights them, She lights the top pie pans and she lights the bottom pie pans, and then she blows herself out, and then literally blows herself out and goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Saget."
Surely you don't have a story quite that good.
Can't top it. I can't top that.
It's another bad setup for a
Yeah,
comedian.
totally unfair by me.
What's the saddest place you perform, though? You got to have something.
That's better.
I think in the beginning, there used to have a Funny Bone in Evansville, Indiana, and like nobody laughed the whole weekend. They didn't laugh at the host.
The whole weekend.
That's not great for a comedian.
No, it was awful. It was like they didn't boo, and they just sat there.
Just indifferent.
And that was worse. I'd rather get booed. Like it was 4 shows of just guys in John Deere hats with their arms on their belly.
This must have been a rough week for Evansville. I don't know.
No, let me tell you something. The only reaction I got all weekend was by Saturday, the late show, I just went, "Hey guys, this is all we got. We haven't got a laugh all weekend. Later, the cable guy's not walking through those doors." And this dude stood up. He's like, "Whoa. Those are big shoes to fill, buddy." Like, oh, you guys are alive. You are alive.
New comedy special, Gary Owen, No S, available exclusively on Mint Comedy. Go to GaryOwen.live for upcoming dates and tickets. As I mentioned, he's got Chicago, Kansas City, Charlotte, Atlanta, Washington, and June 6th through the 8th, 5 shows. Dania, from Seattle to Dania, the way that all the comics do it. Thank you, Gary.
Appreciate you guys.
We've got Boldest Take to get to here, Greg.
Hey, Gary.
Yes, thank you.
Was waiting for that since the start.
I want to get to Boldest Take, and I also want to tell people that we've got a couple of watch parties. Actually, over the next week, we're going to have 3 sort of pop-up things, right? Because we're going to pop up as a show for one of these finals games. At least in the NBA. Roy, what are you doing with the hockey show and Dwork and Rose and who else is involved with these festivities?
On Friday, we got Game 2. We're going to do a live stream, much like MMA Hangout does their live stream. It's going to be at the Dead Flamingo. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Come on out, watch it with us.
That one. So come on out.
What was that?
I said come on out and watch it with us.
No, but the Dead what?
Dead Flamingo.
Dead Flamingo.
Formerly known as Casa Tiki. Now Dead Flamingo.
FKA.
Okay. And Tony, what are you doing this
Saturday
weekend?
night, Dano, UFC 316, the rematch versus Merab Dvalishvili and Sean O'Malley. And we're going to have Kayla Harrison versus Juliana Pena for the Bantamweight Women's Championship. A very exciting night of fights. Greg Cody, you will be there?
It's a strong possibility.
All right.
I'm really excited for that.
Dead Flamingo, Saturday night, possibly a Mike Ryan appearance. We don't know.
Yeah, Sean O'Malley. That's a rematch, right? Isn't it?
Rematch.
So I'm excited about this one. Great card.
We'll be there 10 o'clock start for your time.
If you're a listener and you show up to both watch parties this weekend, you get to go to lunch with Dan at a later date.
Mm-hmm. You just sleep over. Just stay the whole night at, Dead Flamingo and then start up for MMA Hangout after.
Some subject to change.
It's usually Billy that does this on
That's
Wednesdays.
your EP, Dan.
I was joking. You're not going to lunch with Dan.
But at least you didn't interrupt me in order to do it.
Good joke, though.
Yeah, great joke. Except that the last time you guys promised that, I ended up watching the March Madness.
Well, we didn't promise.
Final.
That was a sales thing.
Okay, well, all of you are in cahoots.
You agreed to that.
To be fair, that was Billy's idea.
No, Dan approved that idea.
Yeah,
and it was supposed to be a bigger idea.
Well,
and then
don't
we
push
couldn't
back
sell
on the
it.
fact that you conceptualize. You conceptualize. He agreed.
It was a better idea when I presented it.
We
couldn't sell it.
I have
properly.
to. Okay, see that now our business is in people's face, and I knew that was going to happen. And thank you for nothing.
Sorry about that.
No, please, no. Great being. It's why it's a Wild Billy Wednesday. But at least you didn't interrupt me to get it in there. That's the best part of it. Like the best.
What were you getting to?
Yeah, I don't remember. Which
The
is
third
why
watch
that-
party.
The
which
third
is-
watch
well,
party.
No,
Third watch
no,
party.
I wasn't going to the third
Well,
watch
you
party.
should because they're a partner.
Yeah, you should. You should be at every one.
Love the third watch party, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yes, a FIFA Club World Cup watch party Saturday, June 14th
Yes.
at Grails in Miami.
Dan will be there.
That's a fourth watch party because Dan said there was a pop-up for the finals,
There
too.
is a fourth
Ooh,
one.
There
out
you
there.
go.
This one
Is that one
presented by
somewhere?
This one's presented by Boost Mobile and DraftKings. It's Inter Miami kicking off the Club World Cup, which I actually think is going to be sneaky awesome.
What's the Club World
It's the
Cup?
FIFA Club World Cup. Instead of, countries, it's clubs.
It's the first time they're doing this. It's a World Cup, but instead of countries, as Tony pointed to, it's some of the best clubs on the planet. You get to see Champions League, and that determines the champions of Europe. Occasionally, you'll get to see like 4 of the qualifying regions, and the top teams play one another for a Club World Cup. This time, we're actually doing a real World Cup-style tournament with clubs that have qualified over the course of 4 years to truly determine which is the best club soccer team on the planet.
I'll be present at the girls' watch party. Wow. Very exciting.
But Cody gave you a very insincere, very possible or very probable, and Roy laughed, braying laughter in his face, like a mule eating briars. Roy was laughing in his face.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility. That's all it was.
It's not a possibility.
I
don't believe he will think of it again.
I got to check with my staff. See what my schedule looks like.
Put a percentage on it. Put a percentage on it.
Somewhere between 4 and 70.
But he's a senile old man.
Inter Miami's got no shot at winning this. But if they were,
really don't.
If they were to win this, it would be the biggest honor ever bestowed on a club. They'd be the inaugural champion, and you get to see where they stack up against the world's elite. You're going to have dream matchups. LAFC just qualified over Club America. You got LAFC in Atlanta against Chelsea FC. Like, you have real huge dream matchups, and the cool thing is, the prize pool is such that these teams are going for it. Anytime you see these teams from Europe travel across the pond and do their summer tours, they're getting rotational guys in, developmental guys in. No, they're actually making signings for this. You're going to see Trent Alexander-Arnold in a Real Madrid shirt. You're going to get to see the best, the cream of the crop, and they're going to match up against some MLS teams that are in season. So it'll be really interesting to see where a team like Inter Miami stacks up, not just against the Al-Ahlis of the world, but against some of the top teams in Brazil if they advance and get to the knockout round. So you see rematches of Messi versus one of his former European clubs. It's incredible.
Yeah, I was shocked to look at the betting odds for all 32 teams. I thought because of Lionel Messi alone that they would be higher in regard than they are, but they're middle of the pack. They are just strictly
That's
middle
actually
of the
quite
pack.
flattering that they're middle of the pack.
And actually the Egyptian club that they're playing, this is the first year that the FIFA Club World Cup has been a full tournament with 32 teams. But the tournament actually has its lineage to the early 2000s. But the thing is, they always used to only play with 7 clubs. And so it was a very minor deal. It didn't nearly have the stature and the attention.
That feels like a back in my
now.
day. Anytime you say they only used to play with 7 clubs, that sounds like a back in my day.
Most people didn't even know this thing was going on. It would happen in the middle of the year, usually somewhere in the Middle East, and some of the upper echelon clubs would kind of join in progress. This you actually get to see. Who is the best club in the world presently? They get to tout that for 4 years because this is a World Cup-style knockout tournament.
Yep. Really looking forward to it. And also the first Inter Miami match at Hard Rock Stadium. Super interested to see whether they fill that place.
You will not be at Tony's thing. I don't believe there's
a possibility.
I don't think
4 and 70.
I think it's well below 4%.
It could happen.
You know what? I will bet you $1,000 it doesn't happen.
Okay.
Greg, you go 50-50.
Yeah, Tony, I'll be there for about 5 minutes.
That's fine.
Get my money from Dan, then I'm out of there.
You just saw $1,000 laying on the floor. Greg Cody will travel many a mile to pick up that $1,000.
He didn't put any parameters on it.
No parameters.
If I show up, I get $1K from this guy.
50-50.
Where's it at?
It'll be in a trash bag that Dan got at the bank the other
Dead
day.
Flamingo, formerly known as Kasatiki.
It has to be real support offered as part of the MMA coverage to work with Tony as part of the celebration. It's not an appearance fee to appear and take the $1,000.
Backtracking it.
It's for a night of work.
This guy.
It's
Look
for
at this guy.
It's for a night of work.
Welshing on his bet.
You don't get to make it a drive-through where you just
That's
show
what you said. If you go, I'll give you $1,000.
Greg comes on. He says a couple of things. He talks about some of the fighters. Bing, bang, boom. That kind of thing. He's out of there.
And you know it.
He doesn't know what time these cards start.
He won't make it. He
10 p.m. is the first fight.
I'm there, man. I'll be there at 10:01.
You ain't. That's on Saturday. You're not driving
by 10:02.
You're not driving.
Well, see, Chris, you know that we're sending him out to the faces of a crime.
Yeah, but $1,000 might be the number. It might. It's big enough that might be the number.
If he wants to work, that evening. Again, it's a bet of $1,000. So now he has to show up or he owes me $1,000.
No. You said, and you can roll the tape or whatever they.
He said, "I'll bet you $1,000."
And these are the parameters.
He said, "I'll give you $1,000."
Well, you're going either way. So what's it to you?
I heard the bet.
The word "bet" was not used.
I would bet you $1,000.
That's how I heard it.
I said, I'm pretty sure he said, "I'll give you $1,000."
Look, it's usually implied that he just hemorrhages money and doesn't get anything in return on this show.
Lord.
I get it.
Yes,
He does hemorrhage money.
That's one of the great jokes we tell around here. It's a lot of fun, that one.
Look, I'm pretty sure for $1,000 you were going to do it because that does feel
He's
like
just
the
got to
number.
work with Tony. He should support his teammate. Like, I don't even understand. Like, that's bare minimum on being a good teammate with teamwork with someone you work with.
Are you going to be there?
No.
Possibly.
What about this whole teammate business?
No,
He's
going to
do the one that's online.
I'm not a teammate. I lord over the team. I am not the teammate.
He's Dolan.
What are you confused
He
about?
bankrolls the operation.
I am not Dolan. I am not Dolan.
Ishbia.
You don't wear a hat like that.
I am not.
Ishbia is fun to say, huh?
It is fun. Put it on the poll at Le Batard
It's
Show.
exotic.
Is Ishbia fun to say? We're going to get to the boldest take in a second. I can't believe we didn't get to this with Samson, though. Have you guys heard Pablo is doing good work on Pablo Torre Finds Out?
Dan, I want to say something. I think I'm back on Pablo.
Oh, you heard the Bill Simmons episode?
I did.
I heard it.
I was listening to it. I was like, you know what? Pablo likable on Bill Simmons.
No, Pablo held his ground, and all the arguments that Bill was making on the front end evaporated like that. Pablo was a man in that.
Pablo was like explaining to Bill basically like, hey, this is what I do. This is how I do it. Yes, it's stupid, but I take stupid things seriously, right? That's his whole moniker. Well, he was very likable in a way that sometimes he's not on this show. But I don't know if that's because of Bill or because of you, Dan. I don't know.
We will find out. Everyone here is both a little more likable and a little less likable because of their proximity to me. That's why I go to the bank and cash my cash in garbage bags. That's how the whole thing works. David Samson has lured Dominique and Pablo into a conversation where he reveals something that might be up for Sui Best Revelation.
This made my skin crawl.
Okay, so
Your skin.
How many people heard about this? This is so foul, and David Samson is so foul, but he will take you in the bowels of sports business, where no immorality can go without shame. Like, it's unbelievable to watch and listen to this story. Let's listen.
I don't love the fact that I went into an all-black church trying to get votes for the stadium, and I stood up there and I said, "Can I get an amen?" I don't love that I did that, but I did.
I didn't know that you did that.
Oh, I gave a whole sermon. I gave a sermon to a major black church in Miami because I needed their support for public money for the ballpark.
How did you dress?
How I dressed is I went to visit a black tailor, and I had a suit made for me by Andre Dawson's tailor. So I looked like Andre Dawson, and it was awesome. And we had a plan of all the different people we had to get votes from. So we went to the Cubans, we went to the non-Cuban Hispanics. 100%. I had to go get one personally made, a Gallavera. So I had to wear that to the Cubans.
Say that one more time.
I think it's Gallavera. I don't really know how to say it. You guys are funny,
Yes.
but I did give the sermon, and I felt like I had the room enough.
What does a sermon?
It was about all the things that this 65-inch white Jewish guy could do for them. It was going great, and I had eyes with my Cuban
was going
consigliere.
great.
It was. So
They were giving you amens.
I
did not?
No, I just had the view that I had their attention. I had the view that they were looking at me as though I was one of them. And so I built up to this crescendo, and I look over at the bishop. Then I look out at the audience. I look back at the Cuban consigliere, and I look at the crowd. I say, "Can I get an amen?" And then I walked out. And it was awesome.
Oh, God.
I didn't like that.
I didn't like how he said Guayabera.
That's what I'm referring
That was
to.
the part.
You already
Everything
know
else
how I
seemed
feel.
fine.
Gallavera.
So I want to do something with this because I'm telling you, we have a total new ad campaign around here. If we started to sell with David Samson, gringo trying to poorly be Hispanic guy, I sell you Gallaveras instead of Guayaberas, instead of tetas. Can you get the sound of him trying? We've got to do a Spanish off with David Samson because I want you guys to absorb how hard it would be to offend black people the way that he just did and have them be the second most aggrieved group in everything that was just said because of how he pronounced Guayabera.
Well, thankfully, we had the most popular black comic in San Diego.
Yeah.
Guayabera.
out.
Guayabera is absolutely a great ad campaign. David Samson will do things on behalf of business that are,
A Guayabera.
I mean,
Guayabera's like your dad's friend.
Yes.
Guayabera, you're like, oh, I know that guy. That's Guy. I know him.
Guayabera.
I feel like that's also how he would say the name of the dictator before Castro.
A Guayabera.
Like, I don't think he knows the difference between those things.
A Guayabera.
Find the tetas.
Tetas.
Tater tots.
That's what she said.
A Guayabera.
We'll
Tetas.
We'll get to the boldest take in a second. I thought we were all in agreement that James Dolan is a known buffoon. Am I saying anything that is not? There's no way that this is in any way controversial, correct? That he is meddlesome, he's the worst of what rich owners are, that he disrespects Knicks royalty such that it is. They don't really have royalty because they don't have any real winning, but the royalty that they do have that represents winning won about as much as the guy they just fired. It's the best of Knicks history is not a great Knicks history. They just fired the coach most responsible for producing the best feeling there in 25 years. It's weird. Whatever your standards are on what coaching and leadership are supposed to be, I can say that everyone can get tired of a voice after 5 years, and I can also say you're not going to do a whole lot better than Thibs. He's pretty good. Like, whatever it is that you're getting might be different, might be a different ingredient, might be part of changed architecture, but he's among the best. We all know this to be so.
Yeah, but what about an impeccably dressed Jay Wright that walks in? Could he be better? The unknown college coach with the Armani suits brings suits back to the NBA. All of a sudden, Jay Wright's on the sideline with a suit on. We're saying, hold on, New York is back, baby, in a big way.
So this is what
Riley
we're doing.
2.0.
This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to
Could be the savior, Dan.
All right, but this is how we're going to coach. We're going to take leadership. We are all in agreement. The analysis of the Knicks autopsy is the team exceeded every expectation over the last 2 years to make New York hope for the first time in 25 years that they would be good enough to beat the Celtics, built to beat the Celtics, did beat the Celtics, hadn't accounted for the Pacers. Changing times, changing architecture, the whole thing can fall apart on you fast. Dallas is in the playoffs. No, they're not. Kevin Durant and Phoenix are right there. No, they're not. Boston's right there, 3-4 years. No, they're not. 7 champions in 7 years. Now, who's got to be better than OKC? How do I build it better than OKC? Tibbs, you're fired. How do I build it better than OKC? How do we get past OKC? Tibbs, you're fired. And it's like, okay. But if that's what the standard is, it's not going to be because Jay Wright comes through the door. It's going to be Jay Wright comes through the door and we're trading Karl Anthony Towns or we're doing something because this group of players, this amount of money, 93% tied up in 6 players, means you can get some bench but not much. And it's going to be this 6 guys. And I hope Bridges can play another round of seasons without getting hurt because he always does as we waste another year of Anunoby and his perimeter defense because this was built to beat the Celtics and that's not what you got to beat anymore. Now you got to beat OKC. It's not about beat the Pacers. Yeah, it's the Pacers and Cleveland and wherever Giannis ends up and now you're behind. And now 2 weeks ago we were saying, hey, your management team, what a great job the Knicks management team did, huh? Put all the right places in all the right places. Beat Boston. Built it. Best feeling in 25 years. Tibbs, you're fired. It's asinine. We can agree on that, right?
It's not particularly fair, but Tibbs, for damn near 20 years, has always been reputed as a guy that just can't quite get over that hump. He is a franchise changer. He is kind of a fixer, but he's a guy that just won't get you over there, kind of the way that Larry Brown was viewed for a very long time until he changed that narrative. Kind of the way that Rick Carlisle was viewed for a very long time until he changed that narrative. It's a bummer that in New York, after giving them something that they've been yearning for decades, that's not viewed as enough. He's not given the opportunity to change the narrative the way that the other 2 coaches were.
Can I just talk to you guys about this part of it, though? When we do the analysis and I say to you, Karl Anthony Towns bad at defense, is it because he's bad at defense, or is it because he doesn't care and there's something physically about him that either is a deficiency at defense, can't block shots, cement-footed, not good at defense, or doesn't care enough to give you defense? When you say change the narrative on can't get you the next step, if I sit here and tell you that Tibbs was the one coaching OKC, would you say that he's the coach who can't make it the next step? Like, because I believe we can all agree he maxed out whatever this was. Whatever you had on next steps, these are the furthest steps the Knicks have taken. And so whatever you thought this was going to be that's better than this, 2 games from the finals, to me, there's not a coach who's like, and I can do this and I can do that, and I'll be 6 games better because you know it, because there's another coach who does know how to take next steps. I'd say, as it regards Larry Brown, he could have always done it. And then he had the team that actually did it.
Took that team from Carlisle, though.
Yeah.
So it's like it's the moving lever of this guy's good enough until he's not good enough until he is.
And this is a narrative. This is a narrative that we've seen in other sports. Tony Dungy just couldn't get over the hump. Now he could in Indianapolis, but they needed Gruden to get them over there. In soccer, there is bountiful examples of managers that aren't viewed as guys that can win, and then the replacement just strolls on in and changes fortunes.
Thank you. I have now filibustered long enough, Greg Cote, to get the sound that I wanted, which is the correct sound. You guys have seen over the course of the last few years, it's been a marvel and delight to watch blossom on television. The reinvention of the career of Mad Dog Russo, who once upon a time invented barking sports radio and makes a career resuscitation no one saw coming in his 60s, just pining for the days of 60s basketball players. No one thought there'd be a lane for it, but again, the old white man wins in the media. It's a rare upset. So Mad Dog is back, and of course, everybody would want to know, Mad Dog remains, this is what a titan of a career, remains an important New York voice. People want to know what he thinks about things happening in Knicks management. And so when Mad Dog goes crazy on satellite radio, and one of the most amazing careers anyone has had, people want to hearken back to the time of Dolph Shays and whatever it is that Mad Dog wants to talk about from the 60s. Let's see what name pops up here from the 60s or 70s.
Anybody who knows anything about basketball knows that Indiana had better players and more of them than the Knicks did. Or if God didn't let the ball bounce in with Halliburton's 3 or 2 at the end of game 1, the Knicks would have won that series. This has got nothing to do with, you think Rose wanted to fire Tom Thibodeau after he got to a conference final? But Rose doesn't have any power there. Dolan does. He sits on the baseline with the dopey hat on, thinking that he knows something about, but he wouldn't even know who George Mikan is. He knows nothing. He's there because his old man was a brilliant businessman, and he took over. That's what this is all about. Oh, my God. It's the guy that ran Marv Albert out of the building. What a joke. Have Dolan sit there and get peppered with questions by legitimate media people, not guys who work, and I'm not saying they're not legitimate, but they're in a difficult situation, not the guys who work for MSG. Let him have a press conference for, I don't care if it takes 6 hours, and everybody has a chance to go and ask him a why, because this is not fair. Who gave his life and blood to the franchise and took him to the conference final, I've been there since 2000. My God almighty. And you get him out because you lost a rugged 6-game series to Indiana? Oh, come on, please. What a disgrace.
That is quality Mad Dog.
Talk about fastball. He has
George Mikan.
He doesn't know who George Mikan even is. Well, I heard Roy get complicated there where he's like, yeah, but Marv had that biting thing.
Yeah.
And we all just sort of wandered away uncomfortably from the name Marv Albert. Yes! I mean, if we were to call my father now, we should call my father and just get his thoughts on Marv Albert. It'd be...
we can just go...
do a private thing out there, maybe. Yeah.
Let's do the Boost Mobile hotline.
The Boost Mobile Boldest Take is presented by Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country. You can call at 305-486-GOTZ. That's GOTS. 305-486-4689.
My name is Lou Sellers from Greenfield, Wisconsin. My boldest take is Def Leppard is the Nickelback of the 80s.
This is Chris on a mobile from California. I think Every NBA and WNBA coach should have to run a wind sprint if they lose a coach's challenge. Thanks. I'll hang up and listen.
George Kittle looks like he wears shoes with holes cut out for each individual toe.
Hey, it's Paul from Georgia. I got Mrs. Clump from the Nutty Professor. Ooh, it's my little Hercules. Hercules, Hercules.
Hey, it's Cincinnati Lou. If you yell mashed potatoes at a golf event, you should be immediately ejected.
He's getting jumped upon and dunked upon because that's Reap the Friends. His man is open, now he's floating because you know that's Reap the Friends. Is that Kendrick Perkins waiting? Yeah, he's waiting to dunk on Reap the Friends.
Race Love Friends played several places. Started out at Kansas, ended up with the Blazers. He was just okay, but they let everyone in. So Hall of Famer one day. Oh, he blocked shots back in people's faces, and he knocked down threes on a regular basis when Race Love Friends played in all those places.
This is Evan from Broward. My boldest take, Mother Teresa, the most famous mother. I can't name another famous mother. Rack 'em.
Mary?
Unusually loud lightning is hitting everywhere here.
Scary. My dog would be freaking out.
What's with dog? Like, you gotta get, at some point you gotta learn.
Get over it. I
Like,
know.
this-
Every 4th of July, I'm like, Myrtle, get over it.
And they learn some things. Like, there are a lot of things dogs pick up on, but just something with this lightning and fireworks they just can't pick up on. It's not gonna hurt you. You're fine.
I know, but she gets so shaky. Like her whole body shakes.
Like, I get
I
it.
just feel like a monster.
Yeah, I get it year 1 and 2, but that third year, you're like, last year I was fine. The year before I was fine.
No, I had to get some heavy sweater thing that like.
Yeah, the Thunder Buddy.
Oh, I love a Thunder Buddy.
Do you?
Do you get the spray for it, Katie? There's
No,
they
what
sell this,
spray? Oh,
there's like a
the
spray
the
that they put on a
scented-
little patch on the
Yeah, and
Thunder Buddy.
we didn't splurge for that. We just got the vest.
I wish there were human Thunder Buddies, but then I realized, oh, this is just a sweater.
It's a hug, I think. I think a
Yeah.
human Thunder Buddy is
I could
just
be
a
your
hug.
Thunder Buddy.
Yeah.
I don't think that's appropriate.
Please don't do that. That felt awkward. Don't do that. Casuals with Katie Nolan, Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can listen on the Sirius XM app or wherever you get your podcasts. You could watch, subscribe on YouTube at Katie Nolan. Katie, I don't want to speak for you, but it seems like you're having a great deal of fun, and so I don't know. I don't know what this experience has been like. Fighting in this space again, but Casuals with Katie Nolan seems to be a personal project that has your voice firmly imprinted on it in a way that seems satisfying. So, fulfilling, yes or no?
Yes, and that's it, right? I just say yes and then I go.
Yes, as I speak for you on how fulfilling a project it is.
No, it's good. Dan, you're right. It is fun. It feels a little removed from what I was doing before in a way that I like and I welcome. I feel like I'm back on the fan side of things, and that's okay. Whereas before it kind of felt like, I don't know, maybe by nature of me being a woman, I had to be an expert who was perfect at knowing and analyzing everything, and that's never really how I got into things in the first place. So I've reconnected. I'm realizing how crooked my dad's pictures are now that we're on
Well,
camera.
let's do this. You are literally
Don't judge.
in your dad's basement. You are literally right now broadcasting from your father's Boston.
My mom and dad, they're still married. Shout out. Yeah, I'm in their basement. I am I'm channeling all the people who can I say S words on this podcast?
Yes,
on this,
please do.
I'm channeling all the people who talk to me online, and I'm in my parents' basement.
Can we go through that basement and take guesses at what might be there if your father is a cliche Boston fan?
100%. We are in I believe he calls it Man Town. I know others would call it a man cave. I know a commercial that used to repeat on your show would always call it a she shed. And so we've got plenty of Boston memorabilia around me.
Got a
and
Marshawn
golfing
jersey?
stuff.
Any Marshawn jerseys up there? What do you think?
No jerseys. I know that's an immediate strikeout. But we've got Bobby Orr diving on the wall over here.
Okay, no, but I don't give too much away. I want to be able to take
oh.
guesses because look at what
Okay.
you heard what she said, right? This is the highest of royalty. Her father is such an ego monster that he doesn't have a mere man cave. He calls it a man town because that's extra Boston to have it be a town.
It needs a level for those pictures,
It's
though.
a town of caves.
Townie.
It's not a singular man cave. He's probably proud of this. Would he show this off
Yes.
to his friends, this room?
Yes, he would.
So what would be the prized possession in that room, guys? I see signed baseballs back there. Like, what would be the prized possession in that
These are
room?
golf balls.
Are we guessing?
Golf balls. Okay, my
Golf balls.
size is distorted here.
What?
Yes. Well, pick something. Boston cliched sports fan.
I bet you have a picture of Bobby Orr diving in there somewhere.
You got it. Good guess.
Wow.
Really good guess. Really good stuff.
Is there a picture? Is there a picture of the Larry Bird towel swinging?
No,
God, I hate that.
No, we don't. We're not. It's embarrassing how little of a basketball family we are, or
Yeesh.
I was growing up. No basketball anywhere in here. A lot of golf, a lot of hockey.
Carlton Fisk, home run, waving it fair. No picture somewhere.
No, we have. We've got like Yankee Sox fighting photos.
Don
we've got-
Zimmer. Is it Don Zimmer
Yes,
and Pedro
yes.
Martinez? Yes.
Yep.
An 80-year-old. Your father's funny. An 80-year-old Don Zimmer attacking Pedro Martinez.
We have the glove in the face, that fight. Was that
A-Rod and Veritek.
Yep. We've got Tom Brady, the Dynasty cover, where he's got his
Tom
hands
Brady,
up.
of
after
course.
they
How
won
did
the-
we not get Tom
A lot of Brady. and
Tuck
it's pretty
rule
crazy
him
how
on the
things
floor.
start.
Well,
Okay.
Katie, I have seen you in the middle of Pablo Torre Finds Out. You guys are doing sort of journalism and fascinating gossip and also super weird for you.
Sort of journalism.
That's what got Bill Simmons
It's
in trouble, Dan.
journalism.
Weird pitch.
Did you guys watch Simmons v. Torre?
Of course.
Yep.
Even though we found out Simmons didn't watch anything that he was talking about.
Yeah, that's how we won that one easily.
I saw clips.
Crazy.
What was that?
Chris has a Bill Simmons in his locker.
Who was that?
That was Bill Simmons.
I'm not doing more. I do what I do, and I get out.
I
Dan.
know, but that was a very limited fake Bill Simmons. I don't think Katie even heard it. You want
Very
to try?
limited.
Can you do it again?
you
Can
wanna-
you
I
say
don't think-
stamps?
Just say the exact same
Now-
thing
now-
again, but
now-
Dan,
now
you have
that-
to promise and not
okay.
try to pry more.
All right.
I've seen clips.
Now,
See,
see,
it's
it's way
bad.
worse.
It's
Now it
all
got
the
worse.
attention
Now,
to
yeah,
it.
it
That's
got
Dan's
worse,
fault.
man.
You
choke. You choke.
Let it happen.
Choke. Yeah, Bill, you got to take
You
some
choked him.
ownership. You did choke.
Now do the Katie impression you do when she's not around.
Where is your stance on Simmons and Torre? Pick a side.
I mean, Torre. I'm Torre till I die. I've sort of hitched myself to that wagon. I just, I think Bill is being sensitive because he loves Belichick. And I get it. As someone who's had to sit there while Pablo reveals to me what he has in fact found out, a very stressful situation for a public Patriots fan. I've sucked it up and handled it, so I need Simmons to do the same. It's weird. Pablo's investigating it. He's doing a fantastic job. So I'm Team Pablo,
But what
and
do
I
you-
assume you are as well.
Well, but what do you make of it, though, just as a phenomenon? Of course, I'm Team Pablo, but I like making fun of the fact that he's got to go to the sewer here to grab the story that's going to get the clicks, and it has gotten the clicks because everyone's fascinated by it, and no one's actually covering it either well, respectfully, or factually. So people are actually grateful that they're getting details from him on a mystery that feels kind of creepy. But people want to snoop around it. So it really is one of the weirder stories of our lifetime to see Belichick. Like, I don't know how your feelings about Belichick change in any way. Do you separate art from artist here?
I don't know. I think it's certainly, when the run that they were on ended, and there was the conversations about was it all Tom or was it all Belichick? I remember having to go through that on your show, you guys making fun of me and asking me if I thought that it was all Tom or if it was all Belichick. And I liked to think that it was like 50-50. Someone's calling our house phone. How embarrassing.
Landline.
Pick it up.
Landline in the basement. Can we go pick it up? Can we see
No,
who
it's
that is?
somebody. I'm sure my mom is freaking out upstairs, being like, "The phone's ringing. She's on camera."
Scam likely.
I think, yeah, that's definitely what it is. I feel like I used to think it was more. I wanted to think it was 50-50, and at this point, I'm starting to feel like it was maybe 75-25. I don't know.
Oh,
I
so
don't
you've
know if
lost
it's in-
respect for him like that? Like, oh,
Well, I'm a woman, and so I don't know. I look at it differently when a man that old reaches down to date a woman that young. I don't find that unless I see that they're perfectly in love, which I haven't. Any interactions with them I've seen. I'm
yoga
not going
pictures.
Yeah, but I'm not going like, wow, look
Caught
at
the
them.
mermaid.
Yeah, she got him to do that. I still kind of think, just based on my own opinion, that he didn't know that was going out onto social media. I don't know if he was quite aware that we were all seeing that. Kind of felt like something he thought was going to be internal.
It seems like she's brainwashed him. Is that right?
I don't know. I just think she's, look, I think, I don't hold this against her.
Wow.
More power to her. If you can do that, then why wouldn't you?
I don't know
If
what's
that's-
happening here. What is
Whoa.
brainwashed? What is that? What she's hypnotized him?
I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay, excellent.
I had that take like a month ago that she's hypnotized him.
He said it seems like, also not she has.
Put a lot of ownership on the woman. This takes two to tango. But also,
brainwashed.
sex is awesome.
Brainwashed?
I mean, I think you guys.
Some sex is awesome.
You're
Let's
discounting
be
how
clear.
awesome sex is.
Come on.
Sometimes.
Okay, yeah, but wait.
Has
All right,
anyone?
I'm
Has
not
Pablo
doing this.
found out how amazing their sex
I'm
is?
not-
Because I bet dollars to donuts. It's pretty awesome for him.
He
Well,
did it again.
He
I
went
hate
to the
that
Airbnb where allegedly it may have,
Okay.
the
Excellent.
relationship was, and the bed didn't look big enough for it to be all that awesome.
Looks squeaky.
Okay, this
It
is what
was
you guys.
very small.
All right, this is what we're doing now.
It's a cot.
What?
This is one of the great legends
I don't think it's
of all time.
I don't think it's irresponsible to assume Bill Belichick likes having sex with her very much. So.
Oh,
Got
God.
thick
Oh,
wrists.
my God.
Come on.
Oh, God.
Really?
Oh, God.
He's got to.
I don't want to do this.
Look at the tone on the legs, though. It's cheer legs.
Very
She
impressive.
is.
I'm looking at
I was
his.
looking at his.
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, the thing that I don't think, Katie, anyone in the audience is going to have is us being able to decide for others what perfectly in love looks like. Like us getting to be the standard bearers on that from
Why?
afar when we don't know what their life is.
I'm just saying, show me that side of you then. Show me the two of you together in an interview, sitting next to each other, having a conversation with each other. And then maybe I'll go like, wow, they're really in love. He's head over heels, and he believes that she is a brilliant businesswoman and should be in charge of his business. Because right now what it looks like is just that, like, when a hot person talks, Bill goes, whatever you say. And then that's how he's found himself.
But doesn't that lose its
Here.
luster after a couple of years? They've been together. Through the episode that I saw that you featured on, you guys deduced that she was 19 years old when she first popped up into his world. Like, doesn't the novelty of, wow, this hot girl is talking to me wear off after a couple of years? You got to have something there. Yeah. Why is it so outrageous to venture the take that maybe, perhaps, they are in love and they love having sex with one another?
Also, hammer.
Why do you keep going back
Well,
to them
because that's
loving
a
to have
huge
sex
part
with
of
one
it.
another?
Well, and there's Chris Cody for you when you need him.
Thick wrists.
Okay, you mentioned that. All right. I don't want to do this
It's a
again.
barrel chest.
All right, listen.
Some people would find that comforting.
Okay,
You'd be
enough.
shocked if it was time.
All right, enough. This is all gone way over the line, and I'm now
It's
deep.
not. No. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm asking you if you'd like
you're
to.
asking me to think too much about thick wrists, and we're going to back off from the microphones right now. All right, that's what we're going to do. Katie is upset for a couple of different reasons. Okay, and I don't blame her. One, she still rabidly hates the Panthers. We have not had a
Hate 'em.
voice. We have not had a voice this rabidly anti-Panther around here. So, Katie, look at Roy's laughter. in
Hi,
your
Roy.
face. Like Roy's laughing with the Marchand behind him. Yes, this is disgusting what's happening down here in Florida for you as they broke Boston's heart, soul, roster, everything else. So you must hate them more than you used to.
Yeah, and I here's the thing. Watching this, and I've tried to watch as few Panthers games as possible in this postseason because truly, Roy, look at me. I hate them. I hate the way they play. I hate the way they look. I hate the friggin' mouth guard hanging out of Kachuk's mouth. I want to yank that thing out of his face. I hate them. And so I've watched as little as possible, but what I have watched was a game when you guys were down in the third period. A game I believe you ended up losing. Your fans did the wave.
Relax. I've been in that barn every playoffs the last 3. We don't do the wave.
I've never seen the wave.
We don't do the wave.
were
You saw the
down.
wrong game.
No wave.
You did the wave.
You don't put that on us.
We're
You
so bored with making Stanley Cup
No,
Finals that we're doing the
She
wave.
takes that back. I've not seen the wave in that barn.
I've never seen the wave there.
Also,
Take it back.
You guys claim to hate Brad Marchand,
Yes.
and yet you get him, and now you're like, oh, he's actually really good at hockey.
No.
No,
What a locker room guy.
No, not all of us. Some of us have
All right.
Not
Oh, you
forgotten
drafted him.
loyalty.
All right. You
Nobody-
drafted him
okay,
today.
I said he was a 15th best
Mike
player.
drafted him in the
Listen.
top 15.
All right,
yeah.
neither here nor there.
Where
Chris,
then?
one of the more well, I'll tell you.
Good question.
I'll tell you where it is a good
Journalism.
question. It is a good question. Thank you. And where I'm going to is Chris Cody saying, as if it's some sort of taunt, "Relax, I've been in that barn."
Yes.
Every
He had-
playoff game.
Season ticket holder. He'd know if they did the wave.
Hockey lingo.
And it seems as though like we had a rebuttal to Katie and her take that we've all just accepted Brad Marchand. No, not all of us have. Some of us can acknowledge that he's played well for this team, but also hate his stupid face.
Regardless, how high does your hate climb? Do you want to say anything else? Because I'd like to feed a little more on the Boston heartbreak, because one of the impressive things about the Panthers is that they've broken Toronto, Boston, and New York, and Tampa.
Just maybe temporarily. Maybe temporarily.
Oh, you guys are rebuilding. You're rebuilding.
We're not broken. We're fine. Brad's coming back. Brad's just there. He's doing deep dive. He's spying, and he's bringing back intel.
This is
go
so
ahead.
sad.
Go ahead and embrace him. He's coming right back. He said he'd be right back.
A one-day contract to retire.
Collecting intel.
It just is crazy to me. And if Kachuk ever came to my team, no chance I'm rooting for him. No chance.
Wow,
He can get out.
so if Kachuk was traded to the Bruins, you would leave
Blech.
behind.
Patuh.
Oh, wow.
Patooey.
A patooey.
Patooey.
Ladies and gentlemen, the highest of the indignance there can be, a public and spit patooey.
I'm down with
Patooey.
that. That's real fandom right there. She
Yeah,
loves her
get out.
bees.
So
Get out.
you're alleging that if the Bruins were to trade for
Stop
Matthew
saying it. Stop speaking it into existence. They're not going to do this.
You
This
would
would
tear-
never happen.
That's
you
the
would
rumor.
tear the mouthpiece, half the mouthpiece out of his mouth, and then you
Yep.
would spit in a nearby spittoon,
Yes.
and it would ding with a sound that sounded like patooey.
Exactly right. That's exactly right.
You are also pissed off, I understand, twofold pissed off Katie Nolan today, because she does not like, I don't know if it's because of the lack of stimulant or what, this week in sports. That we have too many days off and then they're not giving us games until later in the week. Is it because you've got attention deficit disorder? Do you need to mainline?
Well, first of all, rude. Second of all, yes. Third of all, it just feels like this time of year for sports is like bam, 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 bam. It's like NBA playoffs, hockey playoffs, NBA playoffs, hockey players. And then all of a sudden there's just this like week where we're waiting for the end of it all. And I feel like it's this big hype. And that's what gives us, Torre v. Simmons is like we're all looking for something to do. It's too much time leading up to it. I disagree with it. I think we should dive right in. I know it's tonight, right? So it's like the complaining is over. But this last week has been like I've been watching the Red Sox lose by a run in a new way every single night. It's not good for me. I shouldn't be paying attention to baseball like this right now. I need my playoff hockey and I need my playoff basketball.
This week gave us Greg Cody versus White Hat.
Well, I've got to hear more about Torrey Simmons because I didn't realize this was something that had captured the American public.
It wasn't really a V, right? It was like Pablo explaining to Bill Simmons what he does, and Bill's like, "Oh, I didn't know."
That's a
okay.
good point.
I know, but isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? Bill took such a swing to be like, I take issue with what Pablo's doing. And then we find out that he never even watched what Pablo's doing.
It's kind of like me.
The watch.
Oh, okay. And is that a good or a bad thing?
Katie, I have
that
to
kind of
play
thing.
for you. Greg Cody is indignant right now because you've been on this podcast, right? The podcast is called What Chaos, and you've been on it. You tell me, these people are talking this way about Greg Cody. Greg Cody has called them cowards and says they're disrespectful.
What
It's
happened?
the laziest, stupidest, mailed-in column that this guy probably hasn't watched a second of the Oilers this postseason.
That's columnist behavior, though.
I
love
hate
that
it.
people like this exist, though.
This is way lazier. He's not making any sort of
lazier.
coherent or strong point that you can agree with. He's just and like the Stanley Cup thing is fine. You can have that argument that like you can't truly be considered one of the great until you win a Stanley Cup. But saying that's part of a reason why he's overrated right now in the middle of his career is so stupid, so lazy, so dumb. It's been trotted out there 900 million times for 900 million athletes. He's not doing anything new. He's just replaying and moving the pieces back into place so that it fits the narrative against the team that the Panthers are going against.
White hat, nerd, fake tattoos.
That's Pete Blackburn. You put respect on his name.
He didn't respect me. He called me
Yeah.
a senile old man.
I heard he's
Did he say-
short
I didn't
too,
hear
Greg.
that clip. He said
But
that?
he's a senile
Yes,
old
he
man.
did.
Oh.
He's never even
It was
met
a different
me.
clip.
It's a different
Oh,
clip.
no.
For the love of God,
Oh,
have a little
no.
respect.
Listen,
play
let
the
me
whole clip.
apologize on his behalf. Let me apologize on
No.
behalf of Pete. I don't think
Thank
he
you.
meant that. I think he knows
Oh,
you're
really?
a sweet guy. What was it? Was you were talking about the Oilers? You were saying
No,
that they're- you said
McDavid's
that
overrated.
McDavid's-
Mick overrated
okay.
thing.
Yeah.
Katie, you can be honest here. I'm in a group chat with Pete, and I agreed with him.
Yeah, and he's not walking
Yeah.
it back.
Traitor.
No,
Okay,
traitor,
yeah,
coward.
you're right.
Not of
It's
my
a
will.
Napoleonic complex.
Let's play
this
the
guy's
whole
got.
sound so people
Okay,
can
he's
hear.
short. We get it.
All right. Well, the fake tattoo sleeve, like I don't know why you'd make
Yeah,
that
the
accusation.
decals.
It's not decal.
Yeah, I saw one of them peeling
they're
off
not
his arm.
decals. One
He
was
wears
not
fake
peeling-
tattoos
that's
like
not-
somebody at Disney
No,
World.
that's
That's
Greg
not
Cody
a fake
finds
tattoo.
out. Yeah.
Somebody at
telling you.
Disney World.
This
Yeah,
is a
the
fake
fake
tattoo. I have
tattoo.
a fake tattoo on my hand right now.
All right, I like it. What is it?
That's
A
fake.
Charcoal stain? What is that?
It's an eyebrow.
It is a charcoal stain.
Why do you have
No,
an
it's a
eyebrow on
tattooed
your hand?
eyebrow because I want to test how long it stays on. So I've had it on for a couple days. You know, if somebody were to lose an eyebrow, good to know you can just tattoo it on now.
I don't want to play the whole sound. How
Very
do you
nice.
feel about this beef between Greg Cody, who's calling he's calling it cowardice. He called them cowards.
Pick a side.
Well, it's not cowardice to call you out.
No,
by
but they
your
could have
name.
had me on their show to represent myself, and they chose not to because they were afraid.
I don't think they were afraid. I think they probably just didn't know how to get your landline.
No, they
you
reached
know?
out, got his number, and then Pete was like, I don't want to bring this guy on.
Okay, but here's the most
a coward.
incendiary commentary.
Especially from an American perspective, like people don't get to get called the GOAT without winning anything. Like,
Right.
that's just true. But
he's a senile old man
Yes.
talking about how all of that
And
means
so
that he's
that's-
overrated.
That's my
Ageism.
problem, I guess, with it ultimately is that like the energy of this is that you're trying to invalidate who Connor McDavid is as a hockey player, which is not
No,
fair.
I'm not.
That's very fair.
No, he's not.
Fair
I'm not.
criticism.
He's never done that.
I'm
I mean,
pointing
you
at
are
the-
you're doing that, right?
I'm pointing out the crater-sized hole in his legacy and resume.
That was a good line in your column.
Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like this is what columns are supposed to do. This means your column did well.
Yeah.
that
you.
people
Yes.
are reading it, they're annoyed by it, and they don't
Yes.
like
Keep-
it.
now-
You know, you did it.
Katie
Your
has it
opinion
right.
on re-releasing last year's column.
He's
Yeah,
playing the
different.
hits.
Yeah, different
No,
words.
it was the same
Different.
column.
Oh, what?
Katie,
No, totally
Copy and
different.
paste.
Oh, what?
He
yes,
did this
it's-
last year.
It's
Totally
disgusting.
He updated it with all the
It's
trophies.
embarrassing.
that
Basically,
David
Like
Rick
has
Rick
won.
Riley,
Thank
this is
you.
like you're just plagiarizing
He
yourself.
rewrote the
No.
column, and he's
Whoa.
like, it's still the case.
That
But
is
he's a
Totally
senile
different.
old
great
man.
reference by Katie. Casuals with Katie Nolan, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's lovely to hear her so happy. Listen on the SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcast. Katie, nice seeing you.
Good to see you. Thank you. Bye, guys. Roy, you're the only Panthers fan I like.
Tony, tonight, next.
Familia, Tony Tonight is brought to you by Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. Did you know the very first margarita was made with Cuervo? There's nothing like the original. It's marg season, so keep it Cuervo all summer long. Vamos. Tonight on Tony Tonight, Lewis and I take in a highlight match and interview players. Today's players are Mike Carballo, Julian Goitiandia, Scott Savin. Scott, can you tell us a little bit about the history of highlight? I know back in the 70s and 80s, massive sport in South Florida. Kind of died off a little bit, but you guys are bringing it back. Can you tell me a little bit of the history of the game?
Sure, 400-year-old sport that started in Spain.
Oh, pretty young.
Yeah, young. And this is
as old as Greg Cody.
I like that.
Crazy.
100th year anniversary of highlight in the U.S. So this is 100 years. People would come out, 10,000 people in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Then highlight had the longest strike in the history of professional sports.
Wow, I didn't know
Not a
that.
very bright thing for the players to do. They came back, nobody cared about highlight anymore. More sports teams had come to South Florida, the lottery cruises to nowhere, a lot of stuff. So then it barely hung on by a thread. And then we started about 7 years ago, and we're like, wait, this sport is pretty amazing. It's been around at that point 93 years, long time in the U.S. And there's something great about it if we can just figure out how to repackage it, which we did. We made it, a team sport. You can bet on it for sports wagering. We made it like tennis. Fast forward now 6 years later, and these guys are amongst the top 50 players in the world. And we've been able to add Spanish players, Mexican players, French players, Filipino players. So the locker room is the best highlight players in the world, and these guys have integrated in, and now they're amongst the best. They worked really hard. Even our player manager, which is sort of like a GM a little bit in other sports, he was a highlight player. He was an 8-time world champion, and he was in the Miami Vice episode about highlight. And now he's in his 60s. I kid with him, he had dark hair and was really good looking. Now he has gray hair, he's still good looking. And he had to teach these guys how to play who never played before, and he was like, but now he's very proud of the accomplishment.
We're here with Julen Goitiandia.
That wasn't right.
Yeah, that was right. 100% right. 100% right.
You didn't say that right.
So you say it. Dale.
Goitiandia.
Goitiandia.
You got it. Yeah, you got it better.
That's it. Yeah. Front quarter for the Warriors. Do you guys call yourselves backcourt? Oh, I see you as a front quarter though.
No. So you have a lot of power.
Not what they say, but
I don't know, man.
So you come from the Basque Country in Spain. How's that coming to America? Doing all
that's
this
why
stuff
they make
here?
highlight players.
Yeah, that's it. For us, it's a tradition. My grandfather, my uncle, my brothers, me, myself.
Todos juegan.
Todos, todo el mundo, toda la familia. Yeah.
¿Y cuándo cogiste una cesta for la primera vez?
I don't remember the first time I tried the cesta.
Ya estaba ahí.
Ya estaba ahí.
Yo creo que nací ahí con la...
Ahí está. Lo bueno.
Así es. No recuerdo la primera vez que...
No es niño, no es niña.
Es una cesta.
Es una cesta.
The mom's crying. ¡Ay, gloria a Dios!
Lo sabía. Cuando tú ves a una leyenda como JR, lo ves aquí, en el país tuyo, cuando ves a alguien así,
sí.
¿Qué te da el
ahí todo el mundo le conoce. O sea, si tú vas en mi pueblo, al lado en Lekeitio, que es de Arrasate o Guernica, si tú has sido una figura, una persona que ha sido bueno en Highlight, todo el mundo te reconoce. Si tú vas por la calle, dicen, wow, mira eso está. O sea, todo el mundo sabe quién eres.
Es como said, Bad Bunny,
and even, that's it, yeah. And even here in the 80s, when my grandfather used to play here, like people were waiting outside in the parking lot for them. Like they used to get out of the fronton and everybody was waiting for them.
So we're here with Mike Carballo, member of the Cyclones. You guys dropped cesta, but you brought your cesta with you. So we have a lot of questions for you. Number one, an official cesta. You have somebody that makes these in-house.
Handmade. Like, they take more or less around 24 hours to make.
Like all of this is hand-stitched and like woven together? Like what do you mean handmade?
Yeah, so it's kind of, it's interwoven. There's actually only like about 5 or 6 cesta makers in the world, so imagine.
How'd you get into highlight? Because it's not something you grew up with, right?
As far as how I got involved in the sport, I literally read a paper in the Miami Herald and called in.
You like an ad?
An article in the Herald, right, in the sports section. And imagine, right, thousands of hundreds of thousands of people probably read that article, but only one guy actually, read it and goes, all right, man, these guys can't be more athletic than me. And just called in.
And they're like, yeah, please.
Yes, well, no, I'm sure that the trial. You showed up to the trial.
Sure, but if you look at this athletic guy play minor league baseball, you're like, you already have like 4
so they're like,
things
good look, you could be the face of the highlight.
The boss behind this all, Scott Savin.
Yeah.
When I read that article, I called them and they go, listen, who are you and why are you calling us?
That's crazy.
And
just
you know
like that,
what?
man.
A super Miami story, dude. Just someone just trying to grind.
Just trying to make it happen. So you get here, they pull you out to the fronton. You had never seen this before, touched this before. Nothing, right?
Never, man, never. And actually, when I saw Juan Arasate, our player manager, he handed me that, kind of like you, right?
What you just
he goes, all right, here, show us what you got. He tied it on my arm. He goes, all right, man, let's see what you got. Start throwing and catching. Long story short, I kind of picked up the sport kind of naturally from baseball, right?
Yeah.
You're in the box,
right here, bro.
Listen, big white ball coming at you.
Yeah.
Catch it and hit it.
Yeah.
Same thing.
When you look at highlight, were you always a fan? Did you become a fan at that time?
So I grew up in Connecticut,
okay.
And you had to be 18 to get in. But if you had a fake ID at 16, you could go in.
Classic.
So everybody had their first beer and their first bet at Highlight. So that's my highlight. Then I had nothing to do with Highlight for about 30 years. But then I'm like, oh, I had my first bet and my first beer. This is a pretty cool sport. And the sport itself is really amazing. Fastest ball sport in the world. The guys wear no padding. They wear a helmet. You just don't.
So dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Yeah.
So 150 mile an hour, great athletes, and it's sort of like a gladiator sport.
¿Qué te gusta jugando highlight? ¿Qué la cosa más...?
A mí me gusta la adrenalina, que la pelota está todo el rato pimpa y tú también estás todo el rato encima de la pelota, la comunicación entre nosotros, tú, voy, yo, sale, es todo el rato ahí que estás en acción.
Yeah. ¿Cómo te sientes la audiencia de los Estados Unidos y en España? La diferencia.
I think here is like louder, like la gente grita más entusiasmo, más... Sí. En España es como que se respeta más cuando alguno falla, cuando se hace el tanto. Eso es como el golf. Sí. Sí. Se respeta más el fallo y el tanto también por la otra parte. Si tú has hecho el tanto, pues hay uno que ha perdido. Entonces se respeta más. Aquí se grita cuando falla, se grita, si falla, se acierta, si haces bien, mal, no importa, todo el mundo grita.
¿Cuáles son unas cosas que ustedes se gritan cuando están jugando, bueno, me imagino en España, en Basque? Frases comunes.
Aupa, ori, mucho.
Mucho.
Mucho es en Spanish.
Mucho es como mucho.
Sí, mucho.
Okay.
Tú imagínate que cacheas una pelota difícil y dices, wow, mucho, como que wow. O aupa, o ori, o...
Ori, ¿qué es eso?
Like, ori, it's hard to... like, the literal translation, it's that.
Okay.
Es como dale. Dale. Sí, eso es.
Oh,
sí.
ori.
Sí.
They told me only righties can play highlight. Is that true?
Yes, it's the walls on the left side. This basket right here has to be fastened on your right arm. Doesn't matter if you're a lefty or a righty.
Wow. So people teach themselves, if you're lefty, you teach yourself how to catch and throw righty. Yeah. Because you have to. It's almost like playing lefty being second baseman. Like, it just doesn't work that way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Or like a lefty catcher, like I know it doesn't.
Yeah. But there are some upsides to being a lefty, because when you're a lefty, like in tennis, right? You have a forehand, right? Same thing here. All you're utilizing there is your right arm.
Just right here.
There's two other shots in highlight. You have the reverse, and you have
I love the reverse.
the costado.
I love when they do
what's it again?
Costado. So like your intercostal muscles, we call it the costi.
Okay.
So you literally just throw it over your right shoulder. And those are the...
Is that catching like on a backhand?
Yeah.
And then you like throw it over like that?
Exactly. You push with your left hand there. So if you're a lefty, that's where you get an advantage.
Power.
Yeah. Exactly.
Is there a moment that you said, I can do that?
Play it?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. Because he has moments where he thinks he can do it.
All the time. I can do
all the things.
Yeah.
So I was at Dania, which is another fronton that we ran for a couple of years, and I thought nobody was around, and I went out there with the cesta and the pelota, and I'm just throwing it against the wall, and kind of catching it underhand. And about the fourth throw, it bounced and hit me right in the face. I'm like, and it hurt.
It's a cue ball, right? It's basically a cue ball.
And I didn't realize there were cameras.
Okay.
So all the surveillance department got a great laugh out of
you
that
have
one.
that somewhere in your house?
No, we've destroyed that.
Destroyed the tape? Destroyed the evidence?
That's gone.
Cuando la pelota se cae por ahí y te da el lugar en tu cuerpo que es más doloroso.
El más doloroso, yo sería los huevos. Pero, sí, okay. Pero yo creo que el hueso duele más que el músculo.
Okay.
Sí.
So te dan el codo.
En el codo, en la rodilla, en el tibia, en la cadera. Duele más que si te dan un músculo. Por ejemplo, pues en la nalga o aquí.
Sí. What's your favorite thing of the sport?
Coasty, speed.
Yeah?
Yeah, man.
Just right out like...
I whip it, man. One speed, full speed.
Drops it back inside. Carballo gets it, slides, picks it up.
So talk to us, man. How's your hand feeling there?
My hand feels good, dude. It feels really like a natural extension of my body.
You told me before, it's like your fingertips don't exist.
Yeah,
your fingertips is this, right?
That's my fingertips. Yeah, so you're, for the fans back at home, so your hand, his hand right now is in there flush, all right?
It's like this right now. My hand's like this.
Hand is flush and fixed. So essentially his new fingertip is the tip of the basket here.
Wow.
And the only thing that...
What's up, buddy?
And the only thing...
I'll tickle you, dude.
And the only thing you're going to do right now, man, is just break that wrist.
Go with all that wrist action, dude. I got a nasty dump shot, so like I'm pretty gangster with the wrist, dude. Like, is this being used correct? Am I pulling this correctly?
Dude, you got it, man. You're ready to go.
Dude, you should
figure it out.
Oh,
bro, the cue ball.
Yeah.
Is it? Pretty much.
Well, actually, this right here is that's the core of the ball. That's the core.
It's wrapped.
Yeah, it gets wrapped in a couple layers of electrical tape. So it's pretty gangster.
Yeah. Damn. Let's get you out there, dude.
Let's go, dude.
So it's not like baseball where you pronate.
Right.
This has to stay. Think of this as like a spigot. Open and close.
Gotcha. Oh. All right, it feels really weird because I'm used to throwing it at a certain level.
Less is more here. Arc it to the front wall.
Gotcha, okay. What am I doing wrong?
Vas a dar toda la vuelta así.
¿Lo abrimos aquí? So you gotta open the wrist. Right. Okay.
Let's go, baby. Let's
Nah, ya estoy listo. Thank you so much for letting us hang out.
Appreciate it.
Oye, gracias por todo, bro.
Dale, man.
Mike, thanks for joining us, dude. Appreciate you,
Bro,
bro.
can you shake my...
Thanks, brother.
Mi gente, thank you for watching Tony Tonight.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Before we get out of here and before we get to Juju, is there anything that we missed today that you guys were dying to talk about? Because Greg Cote, again, has inserted himself in the center of the Stanley Cup final.
Yes, I have been. I want to talk about college baseball. Been dying to talk about what happened to the SEC and how embarrassing that was. For the first time in history, the number one team in the nation failed to get out of just the regional in Vanderbilt. They got a record 13 teams to regionals, and yet the conference with the most teams in the super regional is the ACC with 5, including, improbably, the Miami Hurricanes. And I will be the first in line to apologize to JD. I didn't think you were a program builder. I hated the direction of this club.
JD Arteaga, for those who don't know who the manager of the University
Gaya
of Miami
Vera.
baseball is.
JD got really hot for 2 weeks, and then they fell off the face of the earth. And if you want to know about baseball, the Miami Hurricanes were they had lost 7 of their last 8 entering that regional. Southern Miss had won 18 of their last 19. Miami escapes that Southern Miss regional. Baseball. They're getting hot at the right time. Now, whether or not this is a fluke, I think you could still be skeptical. But I had reported exclusively on Kane's Insight that JD was coming back no matter what, even if they didn't make a regional. And I've got egg on my face, and I'm glad. I like admitting when I'm wrong, but I like it more when people prove me wrong. JD Arteaga and the Miami Hurricanes have. Now, hopefully, they can remain hot because they've shown through certain segments of the season they can beat anybody. They head to Louisville next. We'll see. But the college baseball regionals and super regionals have been tremendous, and I cannot believe what happened to the SEC given the resources that baseball conference has.
Does he get to say that he likes being wrong, being able to admit he's wrong?
It shows growth. It shows growth. It's a maturity that no one else on this show displays because everyone else, it's like the jaws. I need to get the jaws of death to win an argument or a debate. Brian Marchand, yeah, good player. God, I can still not like him, but I won't say that he's a bad player anymore because guess what? He showed me good player. I love it when Miami Hurricanes especially do this.
I admitted I was wrong when I said I was going to play more video games when my kid was born, and now I can't.
That's not what I'm asking you. I don't think of Mike as someone who likes to admit when he's wrong.
Who looked Jim Larrañaga in the eye and said, you know what, Coach? Around Thanksgiving, I fired you. And then you went to an Elite 8 and Final 4. I'm sorry, Coach. Who looked Max Strus in those beautiful eyes and said, I had you guys wrong.
So you like to do this?
I love being proven wrong. Guys, it's fine. It's not a big deal. I was wrong about that.
Proven wrong.
I like to admit when I'm wrong. The diet didn't start on Monday.
Paul Maurice, you guys fired him. Bobrovsky was pronounced by everybody in this town. They were pronouncing his name the same way that Charles Barkley pronounces his name.
Sergei Bobrovka. 2 all-time references right there. Paul Maurice, Zazzle called him the murderer of fun. That was trademarked. Well, a lot of people, I had to delete tweets about Paul Maurice. He showed me.
You guys were so happy to hear Katie hate the Panthers. My God, the 3 of
That's
you.
real fandom. It was great to hear that if Matthew Tkachuk went over there, she would hate Matthew Tkachuk forevermore.
Until he scored his first goal.
That's someone that loves
there
puck.
he is, ladies and gentlemen. He's Greg overrated. Juju Gotti has some polls to update. Juju, what are your thoughts here on a Greg Cote Wednesday? Greg Cote is complaining that he has not had a Greg Cote Tuesday, even though this week we got extra Greg Cote, which is good for everybody involved. Everyone gets happy when there's more Greg Cote, but he's complaining because he wants his Tuesdays.
Correct.
Yes. And I was wrong when I thought Julius Randle was an NBA player. I was wrong. Like, I want to admit that. He's
Famer.
ass.
Hall of Famer.
A Hall of Famer. Yeah, man. I think my brother Greg Cote, whatever he wants, he should get these days. And I think that we should support Greg Cote a little more. I think Billy is right. Band of brothers. Watch it sometimes, fellas. Somebody come at one of our own. It don't matter if he's right or wrong. We just have his back. You dig it?
But
Greg
he's a
Cote,
senile old man.
Right. And you're using words like senile. Come on, man. That's disrespectful. That's below the belt. If you're going to keep it sports, keep it sports. Tell us your opinion. My brother is not senile. Salute to G.
Thank you.
I've got to be honest, though, the way that we played that sound, because we played it as two different sounds, the senile old man had escaped me a couple of times. And so that seems to be the place that we're crossing the line that gets Greg to say coward and everything else. Like, it's not, there's nothing else that's even that much of a disagreement. It's that they came at you disrespectfully with senile old man. And Juju is saying we have to stand up for Greg Cody no matter what.
Right. He's dedicated his life to this show. 20 years in a row, man. Come on, man. We got to have each other's back. If somebody come at anybody on the show, no matter who it is, we got to stand behind them. That's why I respect Bill Simmons a little bit. He didn't just talk about Pablo Torre. He said, brother, you know what? Come on, embarrass me. And Pablo stepped up to the plate and knocked it out of the park.
My dad could be jinxing the Panthers, and that's what we're looking. That's really what we're looking out for.
Please,
we're protecting the Panthers.
Bulletin board is dead.
Right. Hey, Ant-Man, yes, you can dunk on everybody, but guess what? You don't have one of these. Until you have one of these, you're overrated.
Yeah, hold up that Stanley Cup. Number 1 and number 2 got eliminated. Vandy and Texas. Did you see how Vandy got eliminated? A ground rule double. If that doesn't bounce over the wall, Wright State gets eliminated. But instead it bounces over, dude's forced back to third, and Wright State has an improbable upset. I mean, hardball.
Billy,
right?
We didn't talk about softball enough yesterday either. Billy, why were you laughing a moment ago? Throwing
Just
your hands?
because we're going to bury Greg Cody so that the Panthers don't get jinxed because he said something that we don't like. It's insane.
Right?
You just don't want to tug on Superman's cape. You just don't want to do that.
Say it after. Once we win again, write
You guys
that
are
Mick
doing
overrated column.
Nothing but tugging on Superman's cape over there.
Greg Cody's not Superman. No one's ever confused Superman with a senile man.
Neither is McDavid, based on his track record in Stanley
His
Cup.
track record is if you were to make a Superman comp in that league, he'd be the best.
Really?
Yes, he is the best.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has his kryptonite. It's called the Stanley Cup Final.
But he's a senile old man.
That was a bar.
We need to get him to come in next week dressed as Superman. I want him, not McDavid.
The George Reeves version.
I want the Greg Cody version of
Before the fall.
Superman, where he comes in here and he shows McDavid what's what about everything that's happening here. Juju, are there any thoughts that you have on what I believe to be one of the most shocking revelations I've ever heard on the air on Meadowlark Media, which is David Samson grinning maniacally while saying how it is that he had a black church in his sway because he's a manipulative. It's great.
Yes.
It's great.
It was hilarious. Him in front of a black church saying, "Can I get an amen?" It doesn't get any better than that. I want video of that. That's fantastic. It's just it makes your skin crawl. It's so wonderful. I'm serious.
I don't think
that was such a weird minute.
Wait a minute. That sentence, it makes your skin crawl. It's so wonderful. I don't think those words have been thrown together before. But he's a senile old man.
No, I don't use that right now. Yeah, bro. I look. When he said, "Can I get an amen?" I was like, "Oh, I couldn't go back into the couch anymore." I'm like, "What are you doing? Don't play in our face like that." But hey, man, the stadium got built, so hats off to the boy.
I don't want to take my hat off to that. I don't want to tip my cap to it. I don't want to be anything but offended by it. And again, I will say this, and I will have no shame in it. Black people, the second in line on most offended people by what David Samson said and did there. Gaia Berra, when you've been in South
Vera.
No,
Also,
but-
he's Jewish.
No, but it's not. Yes, it's not.
Like,
right.
it's probably the third. Like,
That's right. That's correct.
Gaia Vera.
That's right. But it's look the way he does it. Gaia Berra. He doesn't know how to pronounce anything. That man promised me in Little Havana there would be an economy there. There's just still that dumbass Wendy's.
Gaia Vera.
We're getting that live. They're building that.
But we also have the Dead Flamingo
Look,
on
that
Calle
guy
Ocho.
promised-
Yeah, we do.
Old Gaia Vera promised us that the economy of Little Havana would come back with that stadium. And he had this journalist in his pocket rah-rahing on behalf of how South Florida would rise up.
And you work with both.
It's unbelievable.
Gaia Vera.
Tetas.
I hate it.
It's just terrible. I don't understand how
The R is so hard
How
there.
can your Spanish be that
Whoa.
bad? How can it be that bad? I
Gaia
can't believe
Vera.
Greg Cody's the only one who ate Billy's Pastelitos.
They were good.
Thank you,
They were
Greg.
super
Estaban
good.
seco.
Thank you, Greg.
Just good.
What was the jam in there? Like guava? What
Yeah,
was it?
guava, yeah.
that
It was
really
kinda
good.
it was like guava.
What kind of
Super
question
good.
was that?
Super duper.
It's
good.
usually the jam.
He doesn't
I've
know.
seen apple ones.
Guys, do you know that when he says he doesn't like Cuban food, it's because he hasn't had any
Oh,
of
I've
it?
had it a lot. Yeah, I just don't prefer it.
So much so that you say, what kind of
You
jam is
don't
that in
even
there?
know guava? You don't know what it is?
Yeah, there are other kind of pastelitos.
Yeah.
There are.
I mean,
If that
please.
guava is always guava.
Guava's
Like,
confusing too, though, because like the plant could be like a white guava too.
Yeah,
There's a
it
red
could.
guava, a white guava. You
Right.
don't know.
Could
Seen-
be strawberry and
Seen
guava.
apple
or,
jam,
you know.
pastelitos lately.
There you go.
We're going to
Thank
get
you,
to the
Mike.
polls in a second, but just one more time here because you just heard Tony tonight, and Tony is doing something that is a UFC hustle that has gotten very popular for him when he does the watch-alongs on Saturday nights off UFC fights. Tell people what you've got going on because we've got an assortment of things to promote here because Juju is popping up after all of these basketball games on Alley-Oop with some of his friends and doing some live and fun content that's different from what we're doing around here.
We've been doing alley-oops together. Me and Juju have been doing basically every single one of them except one together, and they've been super fun. I appreciate him for having me on and nerding out on basketball. Yeah, Saturday, UFC 316, Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley 2, Kayla Harrison versus Juliana Pena 1. A lot of fun stuff at the Dead Flamingo starting at 10, but that's only after the hockey show.
If they're fighting like the first time, do we have to put the one on it? Or?
No, but I'm just,
okay,
doing a thing.
Roy, the hockey show, again, because we've got a busy weekend coming up here with an assortment of stuff. This is June 6th, 8 p.m. It's a live watch-along with you and who else?
It's going to be David Dwork. It's going to be Rosie and Ethan from the hockey show. We are going to do a live stream and a watch-along on Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final between the Oilers and Panthers.
Must win?
Must win.
For who, Billy?
Well, I said Game 1 was a must-win. Roy's now elevating it to Game 2.
But who were you
Well,
saying?
Game 2 would be a must-win for the team that loses Game 1. But also for the team that wins Game 1, you really set the tone. If you're up 2-0, and if you're the Panthers on the road, coming back home 2-0. But never forget what happened with the Panthers last year. They were up 3-0. And then they ended up almost blowing that series.
Who is it more of a must-win for Game 1 tonight? Game 1, not yeah.
He goes, yeah.
Not yeah. Who is
Tonight
it more?
is a must-win.
For whom?
For hockey.
For whom?
I think the real winner is going to be us, though.
You're not going to win this, Dan.
Okay, so
You know?
who has the more must-win probabilities
You know
on
what's
their
weird
shoulders?
is he's like
That's a
this
math
on
friend's
Mondays
question,
too.
not mine.
It's all he has is a graphic. He's like this all the time. And on Wednesday, it seems ridiculous. But what the ridiculous thing is he's always like this.
Well, this is what you say, but I will say that if you want to take over something because you're jealous of Wild Willie Wednesdays.
I'm not jealous. Don't do that. I just find this whole practice
You can have
asinine.
Wednesday next week. I'll give you Wednesday next week, Mike.
Wild Billy, not Willie.
Let me, it's Wild Willie
Thank you, Greg.
Wednesdays. Let me finish.
It says Billy right up
It's
there.
Wild
It does
Willie.
say
It's
it.
It
Wild
says
Willie.
Billy.
It does say
wrong.
it.
It's incorrect.
And the Joker's on it for some
It's
reason.
Wild Willie Wednesdays.
Thematically, it's confusing.
But Mike, if you're not jealous of Billy and Wild Willie Wednesdays, I just want you to know that Jason, who's never met a bad idea he doesn't want to share with
Cut
me.
to Jason.
Jason, our director, said to me, "Hey Dan, if you want to, I can do some imaging for Mild Mike Mondays."
Hey! All right.
And now Jason is fired.
So I said to
But
Mike,
Hildy said
I'm like,
before she
run
was
that.
done.
You might want to run that by Mike. It sounds like a bad idea. You might want to get Mike's authority.
Being called mild by Jason is wild.
Mild.
Oh.
Mild Mike Mondays. Did he eat any pastelitos? Did Jason run off? That's when you
No.
know the pastelitos weren't any good.
They were. Greg told me that's the only acceptance I
If
knew.
Gino and Jason don't get them,
If Jason doesn't have some flakes in
I
his
hago mal.
beard, yeah. Juju, what do we have on the polls, please, at Le Batard Show?
Congratulations to Coco Golf for making it to the semifinals as well. Is Game 1 ever a must-win? 62% of the audience says yes, it is.
See, I told you. What are you talking about? It's the Stanley Cup Final.
No, that I can't be wrong about this.
You are.
If the Knicks would have won Game 1 versus the Pacers, would Tibbs still have his job? 74% of the audience says yes, he would.
That's funny, right? That's funny. You guys will grant me, no matter what we're arguing on Tibbs, that's funny.
we own you. We run you. And we fire our coach, too.
Right. Also, congratulations to Austin Ainge for being hired by the
How'd that
Jazz as the
happen?
next president.
He works hard. That's how it happens.
How did that happen? What is that connection? It's just
Right, talent.
Hard work.
It's just merit? How did an Ainge get that job?
Best available range.
Probably sat in a corner for a few years, did some hard work, and grinded his way up.
Yep. Is the bulletin board dead? 65% of the audience says yes, it is.
How can you guys say that when Greg Cody twice now has made him the center? He's made himself the centerpiece of the NHL Stanley Cup final. How can you say that? Connor McDavid's father is bitching about Cody at the elbow room because
last year, not this year yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
I know. Don't tell Dan he can't do that again, because Dan will make sure we get there again. We're gonna find out about McJesus's mom.
You know what, Dan? One of those off days when they're down here, I'll go to the elbow room for the show.
Who did McDavid's?
Thanks, Chris.
Roy, what's the backstory here? McDavid's dad went and sought out Dwork, or he talked to somebody.
I believe it was Ethan that was at the elbow room and talked to him.
No, wasn't Zaslow? Like, Zaslow was really upset at the whole Greg Cody thing, too, because, like, word got back.
It was someone 5 reasons. I remember that. It was one of the 5 reasons.
I thought he went up to Rose. Yeah.
You know? I went, saw him at elbow room, and he,
Okay, well put. Good dismount. Good, excellent exit to the show there.
You guys know the story. He saw him at elbow room, and
how do we know it was his dad? Could have been a dad impersonator.
Good question.
Yes,
Crazy Cody wins.
Mild Mike Mondays. What is that idea?
I don't.
They all start with M.
Oh, I didn't see that.
My energy is far more manic than mild.
Of course. I had not seen that. If you put the 3 M's together, boom, give us $500 million.
Is it a dopey hat?
That number was not announced.
Is it a dopey hat? 90% of the audience says yes, it was. And those are your polls.
That's it. I want to get back to Monday's polls. There were some good polls this week.
I'm changing my list, by the way. I said based on current form. Chucky's not a top 10 player.
Series predictions on the way out here?
Moving Swaggy up to number 10.
Oh, we'll get so much Homer here.
Series predictions on the way out?
Okay, I'm going to do it.
I'm going to shock people.
I hate that I'm going to do it.
Don't do it, Dan.
I hate that I'm going to do it. I believe the Panthers will lose to this team. I don't want to do that.
Tonight or overall?
Overall. Tonight's a must-win, obviously.
Thank you for offsetting.
Now you see what we talk about.
Well, no, Dan,
that's good balance.
That's good balance. He's restoring order. That's great. I mean, he's on one hand killing our team's chances, but then he's like, let me give you a little bit bulletin board material. I bang the drum for this team, and yet I'm picking against
But you guys are all homers, and I know which way you're going to go on this, and I just think it's toss-up enough that you can believe in your idea of team. I believe in the idea that this person is an immortal, and he's about to prove it.
I'm down the middle on this. I'm going Panthers in 6.
I think in order to be the immortal that I believe McDavid to be, that he not only has to slay a dragon, that the Panthers are obviously his champions, but has to do it to this defense, this coach, this team, as their coach says, this is the best team of my lifetime. It's exactly the thing you have to go through, and I believe immortals show you that they're immortal.
Immortal.
Not last year.
He's an immortal.
He's going to be an immortal.
He's already an immortal.
Is he?
I think
Yes.
I think
He's
you're
a Hall of
born an
Famer already.
immortal. You don't become
Everybody's
an
in the
immortal.
Hall of Fame.
Thank you,
That's
Greg.
the NBA.
That's the other Hall of Fame.
He's
That's
at 28 years old. He's already compiled a Hall of Fame career.
No, he had a great career.
It's
Look,
irrefutable.
He's not as much an immortal as Mark Andrews.
Good callback.
Yeah,
I could have said that a lot cleaner too. I had it. I thought I had the dismount.
Fool! Yeah, well, it's just I had to remind you. Yeah, I'm going Oilers in 7 too.
Panthers in 6.
Yeah, I knew you guys were gonna. It's all Panthers and Panthers and Panthers and Panthers.
Literally just picked Oilers.
He
in 7.
just said the Oilers.
Guy who banged a drum, calling the rest of us homers.
Cheerleader, literally.
You said Oilers in 7 because you like to ratchet up the stakes so that it's between whether or not you get to be.
Well, no, he likes to be proven.
I would like for
loudly
McDavid
wrong.
to prove Greg Cody wrong. Actually,
it's a hedge bet by you. You don't. You're not rooting. You're not rooting for McDavid to prove Greg Cody wrong.
No, don't get inside my head. I think I've seen both these teams all year. I think they're both a little bit better. We'll see if Skinner was what he was last series. Then Edmonton wins this series. It'll be a great contest. The Hyman thing, I would have said Edmonton in 6 had the Hyman injury not happen, but I think this is going to be a great series, and I don't think there's going to be any shame in losing to the best player maybe ever in Connor McDavid. I think the Panthers have had a hell of a run. They're built to continue going. They're young enough to continue winning more cups and getting to this point. I just think they're going up against a demigod in Connor McDavid and a really good team that has done plenty of suffering.
Demigod.
Wow.
I got McDavid pooping his shorts.
There you go.
Cats in 4.
Juju gets it.
Cats in 7.
Wow.
McOverrated 0.
But he's a senile old man.
0.
0. You got him with the 0. You called him a coward. You got him with a 0.
We all got to be in a good series. Yeah. There isn't anybody that can be confident about this series because everyone's got it like 6, 7. It's going to be great.
Great series.
Just to close the loop, so if Greg simply shows up on Saturday, $1,000 is his.
Incorrect.
Got to do a little work.
Got to work and support the Tony broadcast. Be a supportive teammate. Got to earn. Got to learn.
Peck
Got
of dirt.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
People think that a peck is a little thing. It's a big,
Big old sack. Yes.
Nelly Doogie in them.
Yeah.
Wild Bill.
Wild Bill Cody.
Yep.
1448.
Thank you, Juju.
1440.
Sorry, man.
14.
That's 2 houses down.
That's a fine. I was in the neighborhood.
That was Radke's address.
It's a couple of doors down.
1440.